Fans, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today. Good morning, campers. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day today. My name is Tom Connors. We have the boss man this morning. How are you doing, Andre?
Greetings, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. Alternatively, happy Singles Awareness Day, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, that is the case. But good morning to all, and we also have with us Paul Chato. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing just fine. I got lots to write. I love writing. It's just you know what? My brain is weird and stuff comes out that I don't expect, and it's always a surprise. Not always good, but it's a surprise. What?
If you got stuff leaking out of your brain, you should probably see your doctor.
Yeah, I should. I should. No, I don't want to give any new material to my doctor. And yeah.
Well.
So no, it's everything is good. I just don't want it to stop. I love it. It's great.
Well, we're glad to have you here this morning. We also have with us this morning one Geary from the Pop Culture Minefield. How you doing, Geary?
I'm doing pretty good, buddy. How you doing? Morning, Andre.
Watch where you step.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Gary.
Man, we're going to be doing a little thing on 3 Days of the Condor, and whenever I talk about that movie, you pop into my head because of our conversation about espionage shows and movies.
It's a very good movie. I'd have to refresh myself, but I remember really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a little different than the book, but not much. They kept all the important stuff in there.
Right. Well, I don't watch movies. I wait for the book to come out.
Yeah, I never saw Empire Strikes Back.
He waits for the movie. He waits for the book based. He waits for the book based on the movie.
Correct.
Even if the movie's based on a book.
Right. Well, I had a big argument with Robert McKee, the screenplay scribe, where he gave us the script for Casablanca, and I went, "This isn't a script. This is a transcription. I want the script." And Mr. McKee, who is a man with a big ego, we had a massive argument in front of, I don't know, 150 people at U of T, where I said, "No, this is not the script for Casablanca. This is a transcription of the final movie. Let's see the script." And that was it between the two of us. So
yeah, I've run into that a few times too, where it's like where you want the original script and you get stuck where people have done the transcript of the film. It's like, no, I don't want somebody who just dictated what was in the film.
Yeah. Okay, that's good too, because you want to read, because sometimes when I was learning how to write, I would literally sit down with an entire hour-and-a-half film and transcribe it myself. It took weeks, but you got a very different feeling about the film, and you learn.
And there's usually notes in the script too. You know, you'll see,
and also the script deviates from the final movie.
Exactly, that's the point I was getting to.
So you want to see what got cut out. You want to see, oh, these 30 pages are gone. I mean, that's
how did this guy not know the difference?
Because McKee is an asshole.
All right, well, that'll answer that. But good morning, Gary. We're glad to have you here.
Thanks a lot, it's good to see you guys.
Well, we're glad to have you back. It's been a few. We have let's see, some super chats to kick things off.
Woo! Yeah,
We
good
got
way to start.
Malice Flair. There's a name I haven't seen in a while. How you doing? Sending in remind me again, what is the 49 with the
It's
P
Filipino. I do not
Filipino,
remember
that's
the
what I
exact
thought.
name
Okay.
of the currency, but it's Filipino.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you so much for the Filipino money thingy.
That's a great bad guy name.
Malice
The
Flair,
Filipino
yeah.
money
Yeah,
thingy
Malice
or
Flair.
Malice Flair. Okay.
That's a great
And it's
bad
a
name.
little heart for Valentine's Day. Thank you so very much, Malice Flair. We appreciate that.
We do appreciate that. Yes. We hope that you have a great Valentine's Day.
And then Stone Racket sends us a little kitty, as he usually does. Thank you for that, Stone Racket. We
That's so
appreciate
nice of
that.
you.
And CC Karaoke says, "Rip legend Yashitika Miriyama." I'm sure I butchered that. Creator
Yoshitaka.
of
Yoshitaka.
Thank you. Sukoden. Well, I'm sad to hear that, CC. I'm not sure what Yoshitaka did, but other than
Well,
he
he
I don't even know what
obviously
Sukoden is. That's my problem. Yeah.
Suikoden, and I would like to express my heartfelt condolences to his family and to all of his fans around the world.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not going to pretend to know anything, anything more, but I have heard that name.
All right. And then we got Dr. Long Dongler here sending in a £1.99 with a thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. We appreciate that.
I love
Let's
that
the algorithm know.
What a
Dr.
loyal
Longdongler?
follower that
Long
Mr.
Dongler.
Dongler is.
Yes, he is. Stone Racket sending in us in a little puppy Shiba dog saying, "How's it going?" for $3. Thank you so much, Stone Racket. It's going well. Doing the best I can. Glad you asked. I hope everybody else here is doing well too.
I did watch the first episode of season 2 of Halo.
And
well, we can get into it later. I don't want to interrupt things, but I just remembered. So if you want to talk about it briefly later, then just buzz me.
That's about it right now. What do you
right
got?
now? Okay, I'll tell you very quickly. If they had only done the basic stories in the game for season 1 and kind of turned it into a, mech war, a story much more based on the games, and then brought in the stuff that they're now starting to do with this episode in season 2, it would have been much better. In fact, instead they just rewrote Halo and brought in these magic people and all this bullshit that had absolutely nothing to do with it. But here's again another example. Season 1, just do what's in the material that you've been provided. Like, stop fucking around with it. And then season 2, start expanding on things. So yeah, this wasn't a terrible episode. And like I said, if this was the beginning of a completely a new direction for Halo after a good solid season 1, it would have been very satisfying. So I don't trust them, but the episode was good, especially compared to the shit in season 1. I'm swearing a lot. I'm sorry. That's Tom's job.
I'm just so offended.
It is.
I was very, everyone here is
I expect better from Canadians.
That's my review. I mean, everyone who's abandoned the show, which was deservedly so, it's not Halo, because so it's like all these other properties that we love. You go, well, it's not She-Hulk. Well, it's not Star Wars. Well, it's not Star Trek. Just whatever it is that they've put out there, just accept what it is. Ignore the name. So it's not Halo, but it was at least this show was okay.
Okay,
that's some high praise right there. I mean, they should put that on like the digital poster that is all over the internet. At least it was okay. I mean, I know that Madam Web would pay a very high price for such high
such high words,
as at least it's okay. I mean, they're begging to put that on the poster
I
right
was
now.
Howling with laughter with all the tiny women. Well, they weren't the Spartans. The Spartans are all the big dudes and women. Actually, like the women Spartans, but the regular sized military. I don't know why they insist on having, multiple sex military. It doesn't work. It doesn't exist. The rule.
Well, that depends on exactly what is the goal.
Yes.
Is the goal to defend the nation? Then no, it doesn't work. Is it to destroy the nation from within? And so that I'm not even going to get into all of the stuff that's being said out there. But if that's the goal, it works like hell.
Well, yeah, and there's an awful lot of female fighters out there, but on the front line, the rule is, because I got a friend in the military, if you can't carry the guy next to you out if they're wounded, then they have no business on the front.
And I've seen, because I actually served, so
I can see that from your hat.
I just I was really my future late ex-wife. I made her cry one time because I made her and another female go through a course where they had to drag a heavy male. I picked the largest guy other than me in the platoon. And by the end of the course, they were just weeping and I'm just standing over him, making him cry, going, "It's okay. You can leave him. It's all right. No, go save yourselves.
Wow.
Don't worry."
Well, that's
that
is kind of the rule. And as long as you have in Canada, as long as you have women's sanitation products in the men's washroom, then that's also important. That's another story. I'm being
in the medical
and
field,
sarcastic
so I will say it didn't bother me, Paul, having females around in the medical field, but when I was infantry,
no, certainly not in infantry. But a lot of women are good with the machine, with the bullet makers, bullet senders, I call them. But in Halo, you had a bunch of, again, Hollywood tiny women in helmets and military gear that was just floating around their heads. There was a couple times where the helmets just sort of like spun a quarter of the way in front of their face because their heads were too small for the helmet.
I know,
I was howling with laughter. What?
There's nothing quite like a 145-pound woman kicking a 200-pound man.
Well, there wasn't any of that. And almost all of them died, actually.
So they're realistic.
It was realistic. The tiny women got completely wiped out. Anyway, so but anyway, TV is stupid, so you can't take everything seriously. But it's not Halo.
Yeah, because we grew up on TV that was written at a 4th grade level, and it was just every once in a while you got these gems, especially from British television, that were well written.
Yeah, but you also got shows from Cannell. What was that? Stephen Cannell? What was the guy?
Stephen Cannell. Yeah.
Stephen J Cannell.
Stephen J Cannell. He just cranked out great TV, like stuff you just wanted to see, lose yourself.
Former military, by the way.
Yes, correct. That's right. And he would do entire seasons just on his own. I mean, the guy was prolific and created some of the most.
He was also the first guy to create a character that was a Vietnam veteran who wasn't broken.
A-Team?
No. Magnum.
Oh, Magnum.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, but he also worked on things like Greatest American Hero, Rockford Files, Wise Guy, Hardcastle McCormick.
I love
Jump Street, of course. And the A-Team, as we just mentioned. All kinds of stuff. Like one of the most prolific guys in television, that's for sure. You definitely know his logo.
Endings and with the best.
I was going to say, yeah, you definitely know his logo. Yeah, it's the guy typing and he flips the paper. Yep. Almost as famous as Sit, Ubu, Sit.
He's the kind of guy which the networks just loved. Here, like just do the whole
cranking out shows. Yeah.
No writing rooms filled with sissies. It's just here.
And that's the thing is, I don't think any of these kids nowadays could handle the schedule of cranking out 22 shows, Paul. Never.
Especially with the DEI requirements. Oh my God, I'm up to a black character that says, "Hi, can I take your luggage? I've got to hand that off to my designated black writer now. Can you please write, 'Hi, can you take my luggage?' I'll just add a yo to the end of it. Thank you."
Ooh.
Thank you.
That added all we needed.
That's all we needed.
There's your $500,000.
Thank you. There you go. You can now take that to the bank. I've come to a Mexican character. God damn it.
Oh shit.
Shit. Where's my designated Mexican?
What are you going to do if you want to write about a blind character?
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. What do you do?
But
You have to-
speaking of veterans, Geary is actually doing a comic. That's a good segue into it real quick. About a veteran
We're a little over halfway to our. I mean, the whole amount that we need when the book is finished, art wise, is closer to $6,500. But or 9,000, whatever it is. Whatever I have written there, because I went and I checked the prices on everything. But printing isn't essential right now. I'm just trying to get Richard Bonk paid now, and that's what the rest of this is for Richard Bonk. And Bonk is going to be drawing one chapter in the book. I'm drawing the rest of the book. I've got 97 pages finished now, and it's a 155-page graphic novel. It's going to be big. And if you scroll down that page, is this my page? Is that my screen?
It's all you.
I can scroll down. Oh, my little girl right there, and there's Richard Bonk. Some of the cover art, and even though it's just military veterans, disabilities, PTSD, and the violence, there's a lot of humor in it, and it's got my effed up humor in it. And currently, if you go to the page, you can actually read 2 of the chapters. So
does it have the same level of PTSD as Will Wheaton's reaction to Larry David tweaking the nose of Elmo? Is it at that emotional level?
I don't think it even comes close. No, I try in the writing, and I am writing this. I've gone back and had to rewrite a lot of it, but I'm so lucky because Script Doctor is my editor on this.
Oh, fantastic!
He's making sure I stay on track. Everything I turn into him, he likes, which makes me happy. He gives little suggestions here and there. It's also, part of the element of the story is based on a true story, which you'll find out here. It was an incident that took place between Army Rangers in 1989 and the Crips in Seattle. And things came to a head, and Army Rangers invaded their house. And they got into a huge firefight with them.
Wow.
And no soldier was arrested, and all the injured and wounded seemed to disappear, and the police never charged the soldiers ever.
What a great story.
And that inspired me to do something where I had to answer in an argument who could be like the Punisher or Batman. And I said, well, they got it all wrong, because Batman would be caught, and so would the Punisher. Whereas if you have a tier 1 operator who's used to working on their own, creating no paper trails and funding themselves wholly off of the people they either take down or kill, the police and FBI would have great difficulty figuring it out. And what makes it even harder is the guy that's doing all this action in this book, doing all the fighting, hand-to-hand combat and everything with these bad guys, has a prosthesis. He has a prosthetic leg. And he is just simply based off of real guys out there that I've seen that just blow my mind every day that can do these things with prosthetic legs. And of course, I'm friends with Kurt Yeager from Sons of Anarchy, and he is the model for the character. He signed, along with several other actors from film and TV, who gave me the rights to use their likenesses in the book.
Nice.
So it's kind of like my little movie, and it was meant to be a movie first, which is why Kurt Yeager got involved in the first place, because he wants this to be a movie. And it is absolutely dead serious about crime, despite the fact that when he's taking on these criminals, he's a snarky asshole like I am. It's like he's based on 2 guys I served with, and his sense of humor is all mine. That's it.
A graphic novel is a great way to, as a good journey in creating a screenplay, because you work out a whole bunch of stuff ahead of time.
And you know this as well as I do, Paul. People in the film industry on the business side of things aren't visual people. So when you give them a graphic novel, you have the full storyboarded story for them to actually see.
Yeah, don't get too excited about it, because Well, it depends on how expansive the executive is, because what'll happen is that they'll go, oh, well, this is a comic book. How's this going to be a movie? These are just drawings. Is it going to be an animated movie? No, it's going to be people. Well, I don't see it.
No,
It's
you're
like-
still discussing the stupidity of the executive.
Now,
because I've run into them and they're ridiculously dumb.
The only arbiter for wanting someone to convert something like this to, let's say, a regular script is success. So if this thing becomes Frank Miller level Batman, The Dark Knight, then you get interest. That's unfortunately that's the case. It has to be massively popular, and then you get these morons kind of going, hey, maybe we can make some money off of this.
Yeah, and I just had a conversation yesterday with Matt Burke. Hey, Hojo, he's a good buddy of mine. He works, and he's a graphic novel artist himself, comic artist. And I just talked with Matt Burke from Stars and Stripes, who's been following this book since I started it 10 years ago. And it got put on the back burner because I had to do my career as an artist and pay, raise my kid and all that shit. So I finally circled back around to finish this book. And he got all excited when I told him I was doing this again. He said, and he and several other people, including a friend of Script Doctors, said, this is an important story because of what you're doing in it. You're putting the lead characters are all disabled, wounded veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder.
Right.
Not just PTS, but PTSD.
Right.
And you're approaching it in a very serious way, a dramatic way. And you're showing also that they're not broken, that they're still functional and able to do all these things, which is what, like I brought up Magnum PI.
Right.
Magnum PI was the first ever from Hollywood to show a Vietnam veteran in a positive light who wasn't messed up. And it's deeply appreciated by many of my Vietnam, my brother and my friend Don Ecker. These guys love that stuff. It's like, because they feel so badly represented in Hollywood, in what Hollywood thinks is a war film. And to me, when you have people working in war films that have never served in the military, it's sort of like having a virgin write a sex novel. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, it looks great to me. The only thing it's missing is, well,
Put a ticket in, make a name and gay.
and then it'll work.
Well, I've never understood why couples ready to get married take advice from priests.
Yeah, I never went to
That being
Catholic,
said,
and I wouldn't go to one.
The link is in the chat, and I'm sure it's also in the description. D-Bud's sharing it right now. Check it out.
D-Bud is already support. Well, so many of you guys have supported it already.
Mr. Tickle Trunk has got some love for you here. This is for Geary. Oh, he flipped you off, but
I saw Tim. Well, that's how I get love. I'm a veteran. If my friends aren't shitting on me, I start to feel like they don't love me anymore.
Well, thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk, for that. And then moving on here, we got Redstone Stock is cheaper than a condom, who's been a member for a year. Congratulations on your ever-changing names. First of all, Jon Stewart is back. Yay. Paramount is facing extinction. Thank God. And Godzilla X Kong looks so flipping awesome. Well, I don't know if Jon Stewart being back is a good thing, but Paramount is definitely facing extinction. They don't figure something out soon. And yeah, on that note, let's talk a little bit about this, because this trailer dropped just as we were getting ready to go live. That's actually one of the reasons why we're a little behind this morning. We got a Godzilla X Kong trailer, brand spanking new. Actually gives us a little bit more insight into the film. Now, I actually talked to somebody who saw this movie.
Oh,
I actually got some spoilers from it. And it sounds like a lot of fun. It's definitely going to be for the kids and the old school Godzilla fans who love the wackier school of Godzilla. But I'm curious what you guys think. What do you think, Paul? You just watched it as well.
I thought, I mean, we're trying to figure out what the story was. And, again, are we going to deal with the standard trope of Godzilla and King Kong fighting each other for a little bit as they're mad at each other and then they make up and then go after the final bad guy together? Are we going to endure that again?
Not for as long as at least I don't think for as long.
Well,
as
I mean, there is a moment in the trailer where Kong picks up some kind of protective device against Godzilla's fire breath or nuclear breath.
Well, that's his axe from the last movie, yeah.
Oh, right. And
it gets supercharged whenever he collects Godzilla's.
Oh, I see. So Godzilla
it's made from part of it's made from the spine from
one of the spine of one of
creatures.
Yeah. But no, the basic story is that in the Hollow Earth, they discover there's a whole group of gorillas, but they're ran by this very vicious leader. And so Kong's got to come in and break it up, but he can't do it on his own. That's the basic gist of it.
Yeah, I saw him battling another Kong-size gorilla. And so he's got this prosthetic on his arm. So I don't know whether it's protective. It's a weaponized device, or whether his arm got hurt and had to be put in a sling or something.
Because the first fight with the gorilla, he gets his ass kicked. Spoilers.
Oh, that's standard anime.
Yeah, and that's why he broke his arm. So yeah.
But this arm thingy also has the ability to send out some kind of rope-like device that's able to skim off the top of buildings and use them as a weapon. It looks like, you know what? It looks like Saturday morning fun. I actually appreciated the fact that it kind of did look CGI-ish, as opposed to the CGI that I've seen so far in Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes is trying to get realistic, and it's not. Whereas they've kind of decided, well, this isn't going to be realistic. Let's just have fun with it, which I kind of appreciated. Looked like fun. The movie looked like fun. We want lots of battles.
Mm-hmm. Gary, did you get a chance to watch the trailer this morning?
I did not. Is that the link that was in the chat?
There is some links in there. I don't know which one.
No, this is not in the chat. No,
the stinking links. But there's this thing called YouTube, Gary. You just go there and you do a search. It's this great system.
It's not. I see that all the time and just think it's spam. It's so you.
No, it's a real thing. I'm making a living.
We're on it right now, actually.
What?
Yeah, Six shared the trailer if you want to check that out, Gary. But Andre, you checked it out as well.
What do you think, Andre?
Well, the thing to keep in mind here is that, Tom, as you said, this is for the old school fans. I'm not one of those.
And the kids.
I'm not one of those either.
But you've got to.
Yeah, I know, but...
And you got a little boy who's going to see this and he's going to go, Dad, I want to see that.
Maybe we'll see what comes so far. But so far, no. I did not like the 2014 Godzilla movie by Legendary. I kind of liked the Kong Skull Island. That was kind of okay. That's my favorite of the Monsterverse. I did not like the second Godzilla movie. I thought that the previous Kong versus Godzilla was stupid as fuck. And this looks more of the same. This is not the movie for me. I hope that the fans whom this thing is made for will have a blast with it, but I just think it looks so, it's not for me. It's not my kind of thing at all.
Well, unless Six wants to jump in here because she's also a Godzilla fan like me. I am pretty much the panel's huge Godzilla fan, I guess, and Kong fan for that matter. And I think this one's going to do just as well or better than the last one, because the last one was received well by the fans. And, there's some fans who are just like, oh, I'm not going to go see it because it's not as, serious as Godzilla -1. And that's cool. But most classic kaiju fans are happy to have both, best of both worlds, right? You've got the flashy, batshit crazy, kid friendly kind of Kong and Godzilla on one side, and then you've got Godzilla -1 on the other with Toho. I'm happy to have both, right? We live in a world where we actually could have both side by side, and I'm happy with that. And I actually enjoyed the hell out of the last Godzilla vs. Kong movie. Now, is it a good movie? Is it a good movie? No, but it was fucking fun as hell. That's what it was.
Yeah, the kaiju aspect of it was great. The problem with it was the human story was just a mess. the human elements of the story were just, you could tell a lot of it ended up on the cutting room floor. And so the stories just made no sense. There was no cohesiveness to it. Whereas the kaiju, once we got back into the kaiju, that was the fun part of the film. And it's fun. And that's all it was for me. I enjoyed it because it was fun.
My
the last movie. Oh, go ahead, Paul.
my only problem is I was raised on Ray Harryhausen films.
Right.
And you're just not going to duplicate that charm.
Nope.
And again, they were the best you could possibly do at that time. You can't, and that's one of the things that you can't duplicate. But if this movie harkens back to that, not the style, I don't know how to describe it, but that kind of fun aspect to it. That's why I said that it was kind of okay that the CGI was not, they weren't trying to make it super realistic, because the
You
Ray
call it a
Harryhausen
Saturday
stuff,
morning cartoon, which it very much is. That's true.
yeah. So then, I wish we could go back to Harryhausen's era and enjoy those kinds.
This is
of
about the closest you're
movies.
going to get.
Yeah, so that's what it reminded me of. So, which is why I kind of liked the trailer.
Yeah, I
Man, I
actually
love those
liked it a
movies.
lot better than I thought I would. And Andre, I understand where you're coming from. It has been a tipsy, topsy-turvy bit of a franchise. But what they did realize in the last couple movies is that kids love this. And the toys were selling. And they're still selling. And I think
I'm cool with it. I'm not saying change.
And I think that's where
It
you
has
totally
audience.
fell off, like with the last film, because they're clearly gearing it more towards kids now. And that's
And if that works, if the audience are into it and everything, I say, cool, go for it. Because here's the important thing. I'm not part of the target audience. I was never part of the target audience. They shouldn't do anything to try to get me into it. They shouldn't try to expand in my direction. They should try to get the built-in audience and sell to them and have them pass it on to their kids. That's not going to happen with me no matter what. So don't even try to get me. Try to get the built-in audience. And I'll be happy for the movie success
Right.
if it does that. It's not for me, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I don't want them to try to change it to cater to me. I'll keep my Shin Gojira. They did that there. That was perfect. I love that movie. But that was Shin Gojira. I don't want every Godzilla movie to be like that. I want to be for the fans.
And that's the beauty of this, right? And I don't know why some people feel like there is this attitude that it has to be one or the other, right? There's no real competition here. This is a win-win for both the fans, Toho, and anybody who loves this stuff, right? Like, there's no, like, if this one does better than Godzilla -1, it's not going to stop a Godzilla -1 sequel from happening, right?
Exactly.
Like, the both doing well is a good for both.
Yeah,
because Toho will continue to make more of this stuff. And as I've said before, there's never been a better time to be a kaiju Godzilla fan in your life. You have more Godzilla stuff out right now than you ever have before. The closest we have come to this would be in the 60s when you actually had the movies and the cartoon happening at the same time. That's it. Like, that's the closest you can come to this. Yeah. You actually have the best of both worlds. Yeah.
Over the last decade, though, Tom, we've seen this for nerds. We've had a nerd spring, since 2008, that just giving us so much that it's, some of it became so oversaturated that they've abused it now, where we see what's going on with Marvel. But right now, it seems like Godzilla is going in the right direction, which is gearing towards kids and the kids in us.
Exactly. And then the adults have -1, and then eventually we may get +1 or whatever.
For those who like the more mature stuff, because I love the -1.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who like Monarch.
I did enjoy it. It is a little bit more.
It started out good, got weird, and then it got good again.
It's not more geared for the kids. Like, now this is not something like, if your kid's a Godzilla versus Kong fan, they're not going to like Monarch.
It's too convoluted for kids.
But I enjoyed it because what it did is it filled all the gaps in between the movies. And then I rewatched the movies again after I watched Monarch, and I got a whole new perspective on how Monarch works, who Apex are, how this whole thing come together, and how the monsters work in this universe and all that kind of stuff. So in that respect, I got a lot more out of it, but it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. at the same time, because that's even
I also
like
love the whole
different.
time element with gravitation. I was like, oh, the nerd in me was like, oh, that's cool. They're
Yeah,
bringing in
Monarch really
physics.
gets into the Hollow Earth stuff, so that might also help leading into this movie if you've been a fan, unlike Andre. And I understand the tone of the entire franchise has shifted, right? And it's just
Yeah.
because they paid attention. The audience was leaving them when it came to the earlier stuff, but the kids were buying the toys, so they just geared the movies more towards kids, and hey, it's working for them. So
Smart move.
hopefully it does well. But Andre, anything else to add to this before we move on?
Let's just move on. I just hope it'll be good for the fans.
You don't care about
Fans
monkey
will enjoy it.
fighting lizard. I know.
And I just watched the trailer while we are talking, and it does look it looks a lot better than the last movie.
And we do have one super chat related to this. Thank you, Six. Says Michael Nemo with $5. Any predictions on how soon Kong or Godzilla are found out to be LGBT? Well, no. Godzilla does get awfully pink in there.
That's right. And there was
I
some
want
tongue.
to let you know that 2 people during the show already have dropped funds on Vindicated.
Well, thank you guys.
Yep, we got one from Michael Cannell. Oh, I know who that is. Michael Cannell and Mexican Iron Man and Wayne Sumter. So thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Awesome. But yeah, as far as this, I know you're just kidding here. But yeah, there was a little bit of the LGBT stuff in Monarch, and that's the only place so far I've seen it.
Isn't Godzilla bi or something?
It's
Well,
and bisexual.
It's
they don't require a
asexual,
mate.
yeah. And that's what I'm wondering
Like
how it's going to
earthworms.
evolve in this movie, because one of the toys kind of gives away a little bit. But yeah, so if you don't want any spoilers, stay away from the toy section.
Right.
But Shanatsky has been a member for 19 months, almost 20. Thank you for that, Shanatsky. I know that name.
Dinatsky has helped a lot with Vindicated.
As I say, he knows you as well. And then we've got Chaos Sonic 1 asking one of the major questions. How much Iger is in for it now? I mean, yeah, it's been one of those weeks from hell for Iger, hasn't it, Andre?
It has. So let's get into that right away, because Christopher Rufio, independent journalist, and the one who leaked the videos from Disney's Imagine Tomorrow program, where they all went out and established their virtue and everything like that, and during this open town hall meeting in the aftermath of the whole Florida debacle. You know, the one where they bragged about their not so secret gay agenda and stuff. That Christopher Rufio has leaked another internal Disney video, this time of one Bob Iger. And Tom, do you have the video ready?
No, I don't. Because I didn't know I was supposed to. That's my fault.
See if you can find it while I continue setting it up.
Heads will roll. So this is called vamping. In the business where you need to keep things going while someone else is getting ready, that's called vamping, Andre.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I will vamp a little bit.
I got it.
Because just to continue the setup, Christopher Rufio then leaked the video, which is from the days after January 6th of 2021, when there were certain events taking place in Washington. The legitimacy of those events is a matter of debate, but what is not debatable is how Mr. Bob Iger chose to respond to it. Let's play the clip.
Well, I mean, Bob has talked about this eloquently since he's become CEO. I'll say a couple of things about it. You know, we've tended to shy away from politics. And in doing so, I think we've shied away from talking about issues that aren't political at all, like the issues that we're talking about today. Because we believe in doing so, maybe it looks like we're taking a stand. Well, in that reality, we should be taking a stand. By the way, I take responsibility for this. I was CEO for 15 years. And so I manage the company's public-facing processes and how we were portraying ourselves. And I think that we have to be less cautious, as Bob, I think, was just alluding to, about such things and not be concerned, like just commenting about what happened in Washington last week. That's not political on our part at all.
Let's pause it right there.
What we saw.
Because isn't that this glorious? Whenever you have, like, this man is a staunch Democrat, he's a member of the Democratic Party. He wanted to run for president for the Democratic Party. And it's funny that the moment when you have a very big Democratic talking point, that in his mind, it's not political. That's just being a good citizen of the world. It's a phrase that he did.
I've ran into that on a daily basis on Twitter.
Yeah. That it's not political as long as it's a Democrat party talking point. Then it's all good. Then we're just being good citizens.
They don't like it because then you point out to them that they've made it political. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just like, it's just this extreme gaslighting. Like, no. All these democratic policies, that's not political. That's just being a good person.
Yeah. In fact, I ran into the same thing with Gina, right? Because a few people I was reading through this thread, or whatever you want to call it on X, when people are, the thing. And they're like, so basically Gina can't say the same exact thing that all the men do, like Pedro Pascal comparing half the country to Yahtzees. And the person's response was, well, first of all, Pedro Pascal had a point. It's like, wait, what? No, like, you're totally missing the point here, dude. You're right. It's like this cognitive dissonance that if it's a left talking point, it's technically not political or something like that. It's like, no, you have made all of these different things political, whether it's the LGBTQ stuff, whether it's the DEI stuff, whether it's, whatever it was. Maybe it wasn't, some of that stuff wasn't political years ago, but it is now. I mean, civil rights have always been political, but anyway, go ahead, Andre.
No, I didn't say anything, but
no, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, it's always been.
Take us back to the video, I meant.
Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that in his book, Democratic talking point, then it's not political. Just
fundamentally wrong, and that it was rooted in hatred and disrespect and contempt.
More democratic talking points.
We should feel free as a company to comment about that without retribution. And another thing I want to say that I've learned these last 9 to 12 months.
This is before the Florida debacle.
A lot of the work we've done in terms of diversity and inclusion on screen. When we did Coco, for instance, at Pixar, a great example of that, or Tiana, or of course Black Panther is one of the great examples of that. I allowed those things to make me feel a bit complacent in a sense. It's not that I wanted to be that way, but I thought, wow, we did Black Panther. How great are we? And it.
Oh, listen to him. You know what, Bob? I'm gonna break your heart. Black Panther ain't even the best superhero movie to star a black superhero.
I think
in
that's
fact,
what he brags about.
It's at least 4th or 5th in line.
Yeah. I think what he brags about is how he was able to organize so that charitable organizations would bus people from urban areas to cinemas that otherwise wouldn't have gone,
that were paid for by these organizations,
to Disney. I mean, that's probably what he's bragging about there.
Black Panther is exactly what I have been talking about in this DEI fight, and that is we need more diverse movies, not necessarily diversity in every movie, because that's just gotten kind of tiresome. We need, like, Black Panther is a perfect example of sitting down to a movie where the predominant cast members are of a group, and it makes you feel like, okay, I get it. This, although, as someone mentioned, it was Black Americans' idea of what Africans actually are like. That's a different topic, but I'd rather see a group of Irish people getting drunk in a movie, and rather than turning that somehow diverse for no apparent reason. So I think he's disingenuous in his description of Black Panther.
Oh, absolutely he is. And to finish off my point, yeah, and the audience agrees with me. Shit, even Blank Man and Meteor Man are better movies. Fight me. I don't care.
No, Meteor Man's great, dude. And that one with Will Smith was really not that bad until
Oh,
the
yeah,
third
yeah.
act.
Oh, I loved it. The one with Charlize Theron?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot the
Yeah,
name of it, but
Hancock.
yeah. Hancock,
yeah,
yeah.
Hancock. I thought
Hancock.
that was a really good, that was an amazing film.
That movie
Absolutely.
failed because of the marketing.
It did okay, but
Bad
yeah,
marketing.
it was bad marketing. Alex, when was this video made? It was actually made not too long after the January 6th event, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it
'Cause
was
you kind of heard him refer to it.
filmed
Yeah.
maybe like January 9th, 10th, 11th, thereabout of 2021.
Because I think he says last Saturday or something like
Yeah.
that he referred to.
This is in the immediate days after January 6th. And of course, he is buying full into the Democratic Party narrative, which is instrumental in removing someone from the ballot 4 years hence.
Well, and I'm sure we're triggering Mike, so we might want to finish this up.
Caused me to not focus as much as I should have on the culture of the company and the environment and in the voices that were telling those stories as opposed to just how they were being portrayed on the screen.
Okay, so what he's saying there is more DEI stuff, right? Obviously. You shouldn't be writing these stories unless you are these stories, is what he's saying there. So yeah.
Is there anything in that video about January 6th, though? Because that was what I was reading this morning, was that he was directly responding.
He's using that as a catalyst for Disney getting even, well, in
More
his eyes,
political.
political, but in obviousness, it's even more political. Like they weren't even gonna,
You know what
try
I
to
think?
pretend anymore, basically.
I think that they were going to go all political all the time anyway. This wasn't a catalyst. This was the face-saving excuse
Or that, yeah.
to use inside of the company to explain this is why we're doing this. Now we're talking out, and we're not being political. We're just being good citizens of the world doing the right thing. And the right thing just so happens to be fully aligned with democratic talking points and democratic policies, because Bob Iger is a proud member of the Democratic Party.
And as Mike points out, this is just before Gina was fired. And to me, this also adds more credence to what we were hearing, and that was that Bob was behind the scenes fueling this whole push behind the "Don't Say Gay" thing.
For sure, absolutely.
So he basically crippled his own company.
Yeah, well, I've said it before, Tom, that he acted like he was coming in to fix everything. He was always sitting and if you remember this, Andre, I predicted he was going to do this, come back. That Chato
I think we all did, but yeah.
We all did. I mean, just like the people in this corner of the internet, us and our friends like Nerdrotic and
the whole group of us,
Mike, all of us, none of us were happy with Bob Iger returning. We knew exactly what was going to happen. The only thing that I would say is that he has turned out to be even worse than I thought he was going to be. But I am glad, because that is how it can be exposed. The only way that because basically for the last few years, everyone, the entire populace has been, like in movies, they talk about like that frog in boiling water that doesn't notice because the water gradually heats up and doesn't leap out. That's what happens. Like you need some shockers eventually just to let you know that you are right now in the Gillette timeline. This is insane. This is supposed to be like that. We are living in dystopia. We are living in a modern day remake of the Depression, and the media is in complete and total denial about it. So you need some things really over the top just to remind you that no, you are not insane. On the contrary, everything else appears to be, but you are not. And you just need to wake up a little bit and see it's not you that there's anything wrong with.
It's worse than that, Andre.
So I'm grateful that we do get this stuff so that people may be able to do something about it.
We transversed into the Gillette timeline, which then collided with the Bud Light timeline because of Loki.
Exactly.
And now we're fucked. Not even Deadpool can save us.
Should never have switched on that Large Hadron Collider, but yeah.
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 Right.
Or maybe the Mayans were right and everything ended in 2012.
So this is hell.
We're in.
Well, that was like the end of the cycle. But of course, that it's actually not the Mayan calendar. We attribute it to the Mayans, but they inherited it from whoever came before them, the Olmecs, I believe it was. But yeah.
Yeah, it's not really supposed to be the end of time. It's supposed to be the renewal.
It's the end of an era. It's like one era begins another. It's like kind of like in Lord of the Rings, right? That you go from the third age to the fourth age, whatever. That's what was supposed to happen.
Indeed. So yeah, on this, I mean, this isn't necessarily new news, but it is more confirmation of a lot of the things we've been reporting on, and of course, Film Threat's been knocking it out of the park with their reporting on. So
and
yeah,
I would say that all of this shit was brought to you by a wonderful man named George Soros.
Well, and he too is just a foot soldier, but
one of several. Yeah.
So yeah. Well, let's get back to the super chats here. See what you guys are talking about. Sebastian Scharheim sends in 59 Norwegian krona. Did I say that all right, Andre?
Sebastian Skardheim. Yeah, not too bad. Skardheim. Yeah.
I guess I dodged a bullet with being single on Valentine's Day. No good movies playing. Gotta look at it on the bright side, fellas. Well, there's some good revival films coming out, I hear.
Actually, my wife wants to see Madam Web, so we may be going out to see.
Mr. H is trying to bribe me into seeing it. Yeah.
And I'm kind of like thinking, do I tell her or do I just look at her face as she realizes? So yeah, that's gonna be fun either way.
Even Grace Randolph didn't give it a good review.
That's what I mean. So
but then again, that means it
she
might
likes
be
everything.
as Morbius.
But hey, look at the bright side. Like with expectations this low, you might actually end up being pleasantly surprised because you're going to go in expecting a train wreck out of train wrecks, and you might be like, "Oh, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad." I mean, that's the best it can hope for. But still, as we were discussing before the stream here, this movie, Madam Web, is doing so amazing that apparently the lead actor has fired her agent over it. Not now recently, but after the movie finished shooting. So yeah, that's should be a good omen for the movie.
Is that
right
Dakota?
Yeah, Dakota Johnston.
Then we got here in gaming news, who sends in 5 Canadian, says, "What's so hard with starting the first season of Halo just like the opening scene of Halo 1 and keeping true to Master Chief?" This one's for you, Paul. And I think Paul stepped away.
Oh, hold on. Paul also contributed to the book just now.
Oh, that's what he's doing. He was asking the wife for permission to buy something.
Is that what it was?
Honey, I want to get a book. Comic book. Well, a friend of mine wrote it. Please. I'll mow the lawn.
I'll mow the lawn.
It's snowing outside.
It's a bartering system.
Okay, well, we'll come back to this, I guess, when Paul gets back here. But no, I agree with you. I don't see why it's so hard just to adapt the game.
Sorry, I didn't unmute myself.
There you are.
I was talking.
Thank you, Paul. I saw you contributed.
You're welcome. I was just
I'm sitting here making fun of you.
Don't tell your almost divorced wife that people are bringing money in because she's going to take half. So
Oh, you're getting in the middle of a divorce now.
Well, he said is almost.
Oh, that was a while back. She died. My ex-wife is my late ex-wife.
Oh, I see. Okay, I understand. Okay, sorry, I didn't quite understand that reference. So the thing is, there was a big brouhaha with regards to Master Chief taking off his helmet in the first run. My only problem was that he did it. Of course, he would have to do it. Like, there's just no way you could have a multi-year series without him taking off his goddamn helmet. That's just stupid. The problem was they didn't adhere to any of the original stories. And yeah, have them take it off halfway through or
Whenever he
3/4
feels
of the
like
way
it.
through. Yeah, but not in the first episode. It's like what Burton did to Batman. Like, God damn it! Why suddenly masked superheroes everywhere were telling, you know, their loved ones who they were. Like, stop it! Like, that was a terrible trend. That was just a horrific trend where Batman and everybody is and revealing their superhero their secret identity so quickly. What pussies. So anyways, yeah, I mean, you know, there was a lot more wrong with Halo season 1 than Master Chief showing his identity.
Oh, the ridiculous
Magic
female
shit.
character. It was just
Oh,
like, oh, it was just so bad.
where'd the magic shit come from?
I don't know. It
I
wasn't
don't
from
know.
the game.
From a magic ass.
Yeah.
Michael
It's
Nemo sends in 5. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm a fan of the Halo game. That's
Yeah.
how what got me into modern gaming was Halo. I've been doing nothing but military, and then I got on Xbox Live with Halo, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. Until I started playing 10, 11-year-old kids, and I'm like, all right, I'm going back to military stuff.
Oh yeah, they'll
These
clean your
kids.
ass.
Michael
Nothing
Nemo
like-
sends in. Oh, go ahead. There, you
No,
got a back.
I was going to make
Go
another
for it.
joke about some 10-year-old saying, you know, he's going to arm me and teabag me, and I'm like, your balls haven't even dropped yet. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, that's typical on video game forums.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Nemo sends in 5 and says, "Is there a studio or production company that doesn't do DEI in lieu of a story?"
We're
Well, there's a
wondering
more
that-
important.
Yeah.
few. I mean, obviously there's some Christian based ones like, you know, Angel Studios, which just wants to tell good stories. In fact, they don't even really seem to worry so much if they're that Christian based. I mean, look at Sound of Freedom. There's hardly anything in that movie that makes you feel like you're watching a Christian film.
No, not at all.
The same thing with the more recent one we just watched. That one's a little more heavy handed, but if you're not even aware
Well,
that it's a
the
retelling
Book
of Job. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're not aware of that, it just comes off like a sci-fi film, kind of like Children
And
of
that's
Men.
called The Shift.
The
which is
Shift.
really
Yes,
good.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that. Then Universal and Sony have, for the most part, especially since Ghost. And you brought this up in your video recently, Andre. Since
Yeah,
Ghostbusters
if I may,
2016.
I would actually
please.
say that the only ones that really do DEI in lieu of story are the really big corporate ones. They are the ones that actively do it. And then it's everyone else that really don't. But here's the thing. The ones that do, they hog 90% of the press, the attention, the marketing, all of that. So that all of the others, even though they numerically are more, they're much less visible. The ones you are going to see, the big blockbuster ones, are going to be the big corporate ones.
Yeah.
And
Keith's
that's
been
kind of
talking
what
about that for a long time too, like you guys. You know, just talking about welcome to corporate filmmaking.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is I was just recently hearing a secondhand story from Terry Matalis. Basically, I don't know if I should say who said it, but basically he was talking about how Picard had come together so quickly that he was able to finagle it to where he could work with his 12 Monkeys crew, because otherwise, with the new DEI rules, he couldn't. He would have had to lose a bunch of them. But yeah, basically that's the gist of the story that I had heard was that
But
because
aren't monkeys qualified under DEI?
well, it depends on if they're in the union or not, Paul.
Well, there you go.
You know, if they're
Are they
unionized, yes.
Orange orangutans? Are they lemurs?
Well, they keep losing their jobs to CGI. That's the problem.
That's right. Damn, I have a lemur line in this script. Where's our lemur script writer?
Now we're just going to use CGI.
Yeah.
Or AI.
AI. Yeah, AI
that's
now.
right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's true. And I mean, Amazon and Disney are probably the two worst.
Yeah.
As far as
Pushing
it.
Godzilla -1 was not very diverse. I did put in a complaint.
and Netflix for their own productions, certainly.
The thing I'll give Netflix is they will just pretty much put out anything, right? And that's one thing that they will do. yeah, they'll do stupid shit, but they'll also just allow good shit like the Chappelle stuff.
Well,
and
they
some
know
of the
what
other stuff.
pays and what doesn't.
Well, and they're just because they know everybody watches something, right? I can't remember what's the name of the guy who owns Netflix or runs Netflix, not owns, the CEO, because he just came out like
Sarandos?
last year. Was it?
Sarandos, is it?
Yeah, I think he himself said something like, you know, we have all sorts of stuff, and because he was the guy who basically told all his people that if they didn't like Chappelle being on the platform, then they can leave. Wasn't that him?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because in that whole thing, he was saying like, yeah, we're gonna have stuff from all sorts of life. You know, it's not necessarily just gonna be one, you know, one viewpoint basically.
Do we know whether Netflix is adhering to any kind of code of diversity?
They are.
I wish.
They are.
Yeah, they are, but also there's certain productions that they get around it on too. I think I wish Script was here because he knows.
They're not absolutist in the way that Amazon and Disney are. They have the TEI requirements, but they also have exceptions and ways around it.
Exactly,
For
like
instance, they're also going to buy productions that don't have to adhere to it.
Yeah, when they buy foreign content, then they don't have to, I guess, adhere to it.
Yeah, Script Doctors explained it a little bit better, but that's.
I'm in the middle of writing a video that is a solution to all the studio DEI problems, so stay tuned for that.
Oh, that should be fun.
I can't wait. And Apple's kind of like another one like Netflix where they'll do both.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at that space show where the Russians,
All Mankind.
I mean, it's diverse as shit.
Yeah.
And also maybe
the first two seasons was diverse in a way that I could tolerate. But this latest season just
it's just not believable. Like I'm sorry to be, you know, a sexist male pig, but I mean, there's just some things that guys need to do in this stuff where you're just not going to believe it. But then again, I'm a sexist male pig.
Well, but then they also have stuff that isn't even remotely politically, at least as of today, like Tetris. You got Ted Lasso that's very big over there. I don't think that's real woke at all from my knowledge.
Well, the last season was.
It really, the last season, the last season
went off the rails.
Intolerable.
See, that's why I haven't started watching it yet. I was waiting for that.
Just leave off at the previous season and you'll end the series happily.
Sad part about Monarch is there's only one bit where it goes ultra woke. Sure, there's, you know, the modern day storyline has a lot of women in it. I get it. Some people have issues with that. But I thought my only issue was the stupid subplot with the one character being lesbian going nowhere. It's like, why are you telling us this if it means nothing?
It has like nothing to do with the story. Nothing.
And you don't even tell us the fate of her girlfriend to where it's like, that would at least make it worthwhile you telling us, because then we know, well, did she make the right choice or did she make the wrong choice? Would she have died anyway? Right? Like, that's the whole thing. You're like going, well, wait a minute. You didn't tell us anything other than she's a lesbian. Who cares? Like, I care more about what happened that day. That's the whole point, right? Like, because for those who don't know, Monarch kicks off mainly around the events of the first Godzilla film. So it all happens around that mostly, and then flashbacks otherwise. Midnight
Marine's here.
Or Grumpy Old Marine's here with a $5. I believe this would be on the Rumble side. It says, "Howdy, Doc. It's good to see the combat medic in his groups of REMFs."
You guys know what that means. It means rear echelon motherfuckers.
Well, I figured it had something to do with butts knowing you.
And I thought rear was my first guess for the R, but
problem was Gary got too excited when his commanding officer said nuts to butts. So.
Nuts to butts.
He's not boners.
I thought it was rare echelon male fembots was what I thought.
And Mikey's in Grumpy Old Marine.
Yes, indeed. And Mikey's in the house. How you doing, Mike? He should be on the panel, but he's probably busy working.
Mikey.
He says, my 10-year-old loved -1, liked Monarch, and excited for Godzilla versus Kong. He is Godzilla Jedi like his father before him. P.S. Andre is breaking my heart here. Well, we can't all be into the same things.
We can't all. That's correct.
But I'm glad to hear that because, you know, your kid's right at that perfect age where he would like both, right? Like I envy him because if I was a kid and had Best of Both Worlds at 10 years old, I'd have been eating it up too.
Well, Godzilla and King Kong traverse the dinosaur stuff.
Absolutely.
And kids love dinosaurs.
Yep.
And it's kind of dinosaur-y like.
Well, that's what I said, Paul, is I said they looked at it and they go, look, what's going on here? These movies are kind of not catching on, but the kids are buying all the toys. Kids like monsters and dinosaurs. We got the best of both worlds here. You're 100% correct. They figured it out. That's why kids love the Pokemon stuff too.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of monsters.
Exactly. Monsters and dinosaurs.
Yep.
You instantly know you can walk up to a little boy and go, what's your favorite dinosaur? And he's got an answer like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the easiest way to talk to a kid. Be like, what's your favorite dinosaur? T-Rex. You know.
Oh, I still love dinosaurs. We went to the Alberta Museum, the Terrell Museum of Dinosaurs.
Right.
And, holy smokes, it's just.
What's so cool is that that's a field where they actually do learn more all the time.
Yes.
And they have, and what I learned when I was a kid, I'm not going to say that it's not true anymore because it never was, but now we know. We know more information, which means that what we thought was correct before, we now know not to have been. So it's fairly exciting in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And while they were doing the oil gas, the oil sands mining in Alberta, a backhoe went through an intact dinosaur, which they had to piece back into, and it still had food in its stomach.
Oh, cool.
I mean, it's the only fully intact dinosaur they found.
I mean, you can actually get a really good idea of their diet just by something like that.
Yep.
That's
And and also the Alberta down into the northern part of the United States. That's really the only place where T-Rexes were. Like people have this idea of T-Rexes having, been all over the world. That's not the case. Only in this one area, which is a fairly large area.
Where the food was good.
Yeah, where the T-Rexes were. And it's just amazing. I mean, and kids love it. And yeah, you're right, Andre. It's one of the things which you can learn endlessly new things about, except for feminist glaciation. That's an even,
feminism is what killed the dinosaurs,
I agree. Dim bitches. If it weren't for dim bitches, we'd still be alive,
By the way, there's a great compliment, by the way, in the chat. War Monkey said something about we have a G.I. Joe artist and a voice of an Ewok on the show right now.
This is
That's
true.
That's right. Let's play Drop the Sack. That is correct. Although you look like an Ewok.
Yeah, I am an Ewok.
Yeah, you kind of are. But yeah, no, it's dinosaurs that's the one good thing about that next to last Jurassic Park movie where they had them in the mansion or whatever. Was it that one or was it the one before that where
I think it was the most recent one. I know
one of them where
exactly
BD Wong basically comes out and says, like, do you think these are what dinosaurs actually looked like? He's like, no, I genetically made them to look like what you expect them to look like. So at least that retroactively makes because that's the thing I was going to bring up. Because of the first few Jurassic Park movies, we've learned since then a lot of that stuff wasn't true, like you just said, Andre.
Yeah.
And it was based on Bacher's research, which has changed a lot over the last, 30 years. And I just want to mention my son's favorite dinosaur because he corrected me when I said it. He said, it's not Deinonychus, Dad, it's Deinonychus. He was 7 when he corrected me.
Wow. Time to punch him.
Never argue with a 7-year-old on dinosaurs or their pronunciation.
Do not correct your dad.
Ever. Dinosaurs.
And they now know that Tyrannosaurus, at least some of them, had feathers.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
On them.
Yep.
Which they started adding in the Jurassic Park films.
And there was a big debate. Yeah, there was a big debate on the Raptors too, whether or not they had feathers. But Chaos Sonic 1 on the Bob front says with $2, Bob Iger is one of those that is foot to mouth. Well, I don't even think he realizes it. He's got so many feet in his mouth.
I don't know what it is with these executives that are just so moronic. And
Well,
it's
Bob is
lacking self-awareness.
Bob. I think I figured it out. He's a weatherman first, so clearly he always wanted to be a star. And I think Paul knows where I'm
Yes.
going with this. Is if you've ever met a weatherman, they think they are the most important fucking person in that newsroom. They think they are the above and beyond everybody. They're the
Well, they
star.
are the
Everybody
most
should kiss
trained.
their ass.
They
Exactly.
are
That's
the
what they
most
do.
trained.
And you've worked in the same kind of area, so you know exactly what I'm saying. That may be true, but they're also the most pompous pricks in the building too, every damn time.
Not-
And they always think they're the star.
I've known
Mhm.
some good weather people.
There are some good ones. I'm not going to say there isn't, but Bob Iger, I can guarantee you, is one of these little fuckers who is always just like, I'm going to be a star one of these days. So he's always a wannabe actor / director / producer / writer / president / whatever. And he's not good at any of them.
But you know what? That's really not the gateway to being a CEO. If I was going to do
Right.
a class on how to be a CEO of a large movie enterprise, I would not be teaching people to start with weather person, honestly.
What were you going to say, Andre?
I was about to say, so basically, Bob Iger is the opposite of Elon Musk, because Elon
Yes.
Musk, he can also do everything. He could do all the jobs of all the engineers and all the programmers, everyone under him, but he'd actually be better than them at their job. That is something that Bob Iger would not be.
Or James
He's a
Cameron, for that
Renaissance
matter.
man.
Might even be
Yeah,
a better
exactly.
example, because James Cameron, as you know, and I, as much as I have like a love-hate relationship with him, I will admit the reason why he is so difficult to work with is because he can do your job better than you. And I'm not kidding. Like on a movie, he can make an entire movie by himself. He could do everybody's job 10 times better than them. And that is why he has zero patience for bullshit.
Yeah. You can thank Roger Corman for that.
Yep.
And that Roger Corman's the one who said that, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Not
you
only
can't
Roger
bull-
Corman, but several other people have. But yeah.
Yeah, you can't bullshit him because he knows all the tricks and he knows them better than you. And he knows exactly what you should be able to do and how quickly it should be able to be done. If you can't match that standard, then he's going to find someone who can.
Look at how many successful actors and filmmakers came from, that camp.
Well, that's
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
he nurtured that stuff, though. That was the beauty of it. He didn't give a crap what you put out as long as you put something out. It was under cost.
Rob Bottin, may have been a student of Rick Baker, but he came from the Corman camp. Look what he did.
A lot of that era of Hollywood did, believe it or not. They all came through there at one point.
Oh,
or
yeah.
another. I'm surprised Paul never met him.
Corman, I would have loved to
Yeah.
have met Corman.
He's still
Ron
with us, isn't
Howard.
he?
Ron Howard was
Yeah.
allowed to learn how to direct there. He gave an awful lot of people the chances. There's quite a few female directors that went through
Yep.
his system also. He didn't care. I loved his attitude. I read his book. It's so great. I mean, and I like the fact that just for shits and giggles, he wanted to figure out how to shoot an entire feature film in one day.
Yep.
So it was a technical exercise.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yep.
That wasn't the film, but
Well, he did that in one day. That
Bucket
was
of Blood he did in a very short period of time.
He did Bucket of Blood and a couple other ones. Yeah, but
Yeah.
With Little Shop of Horrors, it was also on a bet because he had like a day and a half or whatever it was to shoot it. Even though he got it done in a day, and all the night shots were done like the night before and the night after. But it was a bet he made with a guy. He goes, I bet I can make a movie with this set in one day. And he goes, I don't think you can. And there was a flower shop on the set. So he just based it all in the flower shop, and that's where he got the story idea, and boom, just
Mr. Mushnick.
they rehearsed the hell out of it so that they knew when they went in there it was gonna like a play.
yeah, that makes
And they
sense.
just and they just went in and shot. So everything was shot in one day except for the night shots that were all done in over 2 nights.
And I love that attitude. But he had the facilities there to do that. He had a mini studio. He didn't have to go out rent shit.
Yep.
So that makes a big difference.
It does. And then Chris K says, hail to the panel. Well, hail. Chris K. Michael Nemo says, Blade film, Black Panther film. Absolutely, Michael Nemo. Absolutely. And thank you for the $2.
That Blade film greater than. Yeah.
Even Blade 2. Even Blade 2 for that matter. AF Watcher sends in a $1.99, says Jimmy Dore talks this with Dr. Catherine Liu. Okay.
Liu. Okay. I don't know. I know Jimmy Dore. He's a online talk show host.
Might have been when we were talking about marriage. I don't know. I'm not sure what she's referring to. And we got House of Trades. Holy crap, sending in 20 Canadian bucks.
Thank you.
It says, Hail, how are you all enjoying Masters of Air? I have mixed emotion. Well, here's another Apple series that's supposedly not totally
I'm excited about this because I work for Dale Dye, the senior military advisor for that series. And he's my boss. I got to know a lot of stuff. They had a shutdown several times. He got stuck over in France during the shooting of this because of the coup. He was a miserable shooting. But what they made out of this thing is just terrific. And Apple has stepped up to where the film that I did the production arc for and for Tom Hanks and Dale, No Better Place to Die, based off of the book. I did the storyboards for it. Apple's looking at it now to finally produce this thing.
Yeah, it's been getting a lot of buzz. And then he goes on to say they really didn't establish the character first like the other series did. It took me longer to get into the show because of this. I love World War II shows. Well, that can be an issue.
Like the first film,
pacing.
The first series. The second series, it was a little more convoluted because you got right into the action. You didn't go through the training or any of that. And so that was why HBO balked at doing another series, because they lost so much money with the Pacific. And it was one of the high, it was 275 million, I think it was, for that production. And they did not get enough back for it. And that's why they did not want to make Masters of the Air. And Apple jumped at it because they have been spending money hand over fist to get good productions, even though they've got the smallest subscription of all of the streaming services. They're putting out, in my opinion, some of the more highest quality productions. I mean, what do you think, Tom? Paul?
Me? They're a weird. It's a weird streaming service. It's almost like they're doing it like a hobby. They got tons of cash,
right?
And it's a hobby. And there's
things
some
like
good stuff in there.
Yeah, because things like Tetris should have been in theaters, right?
And
like I don't.
It's
I don't
really
understand.
good. Yeah,
Oh, it's fantastic. I was promoting it to people who had no idea it was on it, and
Didn't they do
saw
that BlackBerry movie you were talking about too, Paul?
Yeah.
No, they didn't do Black.
Oh, that wasn't
that was-
Apple? I thought that was Apple.
I saw it. Well,
Or was that Amazon?
Amazon. I believe it was Amazon.
Well, they
but
did Greyhound too, and they're looking at doing Greyhound too.
The Mark Wahlberg movie was just a complete fun adventure that was really, really well done. The dad is a spy.
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
That
I
was
like the Michael J. Fox documentary was great. Like I said, we were talking about Monarch. I know people were really, really into Ted Lasso, although this last season evidently went wrong.
and people were really into that space thing, which we talked about.
Harrison Ford has a show on there that's fairly popular too.
Yep, about the psychiatrist.
Oh, one was yeah. God, it's the other guy that wrote like Getting Over Sarah something.
Yep.
My God, I love that show.
Yeah. No, Apple is doing some pretty good. Oh, and people talk about the morning show all the time, although it's not my speed. I know an awful lot of folks that I was surprised that it got renewed. But it's excellent, apparently.
We got Chaos Sonic 1 sending in another 2 and says Black Dynamite is even better than Black Panther. I can't argue with that.
I will say, however, the Foundation series was absolute trash. Like I wish they'd never done. That really hurt my ratings for what Apple was about with that.
Okay, Mikey's yelling at you. BlackBerry is Apple. You watched it at his house.
Oh, okay. I can't remember where anything
He's
is.
old. He's old, Mike. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm old.
John Doe sends in 5 and says 1-6 was the worst attack on U.S. since Maine was sunk by Spain. They even give a prize in the name of Pulitzer for coverage. If you know, you know.
Because the attack on the Maine was fake.
I was going to say, wasn't that
Yes. Yeah, it was a false flag.
So it's a really good, it's really good commentary right there. Thanks a lot, John Doe.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that today, but yeah. Mr. Tickle Trunk on the Rumble side. That's right. We're live on Rumble as well. Sends in $5. Says Black Panther made Wakanda a technological place where trial by combat determined who should lead. They'd be smart to just vote then. Disney made them look like savages. Thumbs down. Well done, Bob Iger. Yeah, I know. There was a lot of issues that I just didn't even bring up because I knew if I did, it would be like, well, you ain't got nothing to say about it because you white. That's all I'd be told.
Well, they do have the worst CGI fight maybe in the Marvel universe.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I pointed out last night. Yeah.
So.
Go ahead. Sorry,
but overall, wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, it was all right, but he was better in Civil War. I thought it was a better rendition of the character.
Yeah, I agree. But he played a bit part in that.
Well, it had more resonance to me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Changer of Ways says Mystery Science Theater night viewing. Yeah, maybe for I don't know which movie you're discussing. Maybe King Kong versus Godzilla. If not, could be talking about Madam Web. Because that's getting trashed, isn't it, Andre?
It is completely and utterly. I have to say, I'm even
just said
surprised.
It was garbage. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Because there's no one trying to defend it. No one. Normally, even the entertainment media complex would be rushing out all the stops and trying to say that it's good and stuff like that. But no one is trying. I think that we just may be seeing some after effects of the Marvels here. That like now, there's no point in trying to deny.
People are enjoying the red carpet pictures.
Yes.
It's too bad they weren't sexy in the movie.
That's what everybody's saying, Gary. That's what everybody's saying. And I wonder, now that we're all Matt Cadish for saying that, if you guys remember.
Yeah, indeed.
He got trashed over Birds of Prey mentioning, why can't you just make the chicks hot? In so many words.
Not with director S.J. Clarkson, you can't, because this is something that many are forgetting, that this was actually directed by S.J. Clarkson. S.J. Clarkson, she's one of the directors that was supposed to direct Star Trek 4.
Yep.
Thank God that didn't happen. She actually did direct a pilot episode for a Game of Thrones spin-off series.
Is she the one that wrote the thing about the friend's butthole?
No, that's not her.
That's the other one? Okay.
Yeah, so did she direct Madam Web?
Yes, and she did Jessica Jones before too. That was the other thing.
Oh.
Well, no. She only directed episodes of it.
Yeah, I said she worked on it. Yeah,
and she directed episodes.
And maybe the second season
on Netflix. She did that, and then she directed the full movie. Now Madam Web, and that should let everyone know that unless your movie is already a feminist drivel, you may not want to hire S.J. Clarkson, because no good is going to come out of it otherwise. Because this movie had a bad script. It had a director that is great for very feminist-centric productions that has a very solid script. But if the script isn't great, and you have this woman directing, and it's a whole movie that was greenlit for one reason only, and that was to be an all-female centric girl power girl boss team. I mean, anyone hear any good things about this so far? Is there like any kind of like things that would indicate that this should be some kind of success? It's a Spider-Man movie without Spider-Man. I mean, does that count for something? No.
The on Twitter, the Gatorati love it.
Oh, well, yeah. Again, but if they didn't love it, that actually would be a seal of quality. So, yeah.
Well, it's one of those things where you've got, 4 good-looking women, put them in nice, tight outfits, and more people will like it. Even women.
Well, they took women like the one we saw and just, yeah. I mean, hide them titties for the most part.
Don't let them be seen.
Yeah.
There is some midriff there.
That's about it. Yeah. But
He's wearing Calvin Klein.
I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but the one I forgot her name.
Is that what's her name
Sydney
on the right?
Sweeney or whatever? Sydney Sweeney.
Sweeney on the right?
That's
yeah.
her.
See, I've heard they
fuck.
they
What?
digitally altered her breasts. I heard.
That's
Yeah,
shameful.
but she can't be so attractive as she is in reality.
That's what they did to Sweeney. So you
That's what I
hire
heard.
Sweeney to do that to her. Really? Are you fucking stupid?
Well, because
Yes,
if they
they
didn't,
are.
she'd have a rack 10 times the size of the rest of the girls. But yeah,
Holy smokes.
they did the same thing to Lindsay Lohan in her Herbie movie, though.
Yes. Yeah, they did. They reduced her bust size.
But
in
then
Herbie.
Six does point out you could be surprised what a sports bra does. That's true. They could have padded or what do you call it? Not patted her down.
Strapped her down.
Strapped her down. Thank you.
But why
That's
make
very
her
true.
ugly? She's
But I don't know. But I did hear they did digitally alter the breasts, especially when they're in their costumes, I guess. So yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Because you can't have big boobs.
Can't
My
look
God.
attractive. You have to avert the male gaze. This is what you get with director S.J. Clarkson. How much you want to bet that this was her choice? Because the movie is produced by Lorenzo di Bonaventura. And now that guy, he has no tastes, and I have no idea how the hell he made it to become a film producer. But what that guy is not is woke, not at all. And if someone is going to CGI reduce breasts in a movie that he's producing, it's definitely not his call. That's an S.J. Clarkson call, I would imagine.
Well, Six could be right, and maybe I just heard somebody say that just because they're like, well, there's no way you could have, not CGI'd these bad boys out. But
Well, the point is too, if you've ever seen her work or the kind of stuff she's done online, she's not ashamed of her physique.
she's
at
very
all.
well endowed. Exactly.
But no.
Yeah.
But she's not ashamed of it.
Oh, she's not ashamed of it at all.
So my
either, no.
point is, she would be very happy, I'm sure, in the movie to be as attractive as she actually is. Like it's
They
wasn't her
uglified her
decision.
a lot in the movie. Yeah, they uglified her the most.
Like I don't well, maybe she looks different when she gets into her super gear. That's her mousy Clark Kent look. Then it's kind of explainable if that's her Clark Kent look. So is that her in the middle?
I believe it is, and this is where I think people are saying they've had to have digitally altered her breasts.
So she looks like a cockroach there.
And you almost see it. Look at that weird bend right there. What the fuck?
Why are
That
we
is-
listen, let's not get in
Hey,
too deep.
we did the same thing to Toby's dick.
You did?
No, but
Hold
Campy
on, Tom.
did
What did you do to Toby's dick?
nothing. I just looked at the penis.
Yeah,
I looked
you
at
can't.
the penis.
Don't forget, Tom, you can't suck and blow at the same time.
Oh shit.
Remember to cup the balls.
Yep.
Oh, oh Lord.
No, that's really too bad. And then you've got Dandelion Girl on the right. So I like that fro. That to me is pretty sexy. That
It takes me
to
back
me-
to the 70s, man.
yeah, totally. I was just going to say this goes right back to funk. I like that. That's pretty
Parliament.
cool. Oh, I've seen them. George Clinton.
Yeah, George
You
Clinton.
need more George Clinton. Less
Hell
of
yeah.
God damn. Get off your ass and jam.
yeah.
That's
Get
right.
that funk off of my face.
Well, let's get
Yeah,
back into the super
that
chats
funk.
here because I don't think Madam Web is going to burn up the box office. I may go see it tonight. Andre says it sounds like you might go see it tonight.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll have
Yeah.
some feelings about that.
there's a chance I'll be seeing it tonight. Yes, because again, my wife who is not aware of the reaction kind of wants to see it. She wanted to see it ever since she learned that Dakota Johnson was in it, thinking that she's not going to be in a bad movie. So it's gonna be
She's
fun
not
seeing
watched
her.
the 50 Shade movies.
I know, right?
Well, I didn't see any of the 50 Shade, but like I said, I saw her in Saturday Night Live. She was so damn good.
Well, I hope she's gotten better since then, let's say.
Holy smokes, was she funny in SNL? Like at the top of anybody's game. She was just willing to go for it. And there's a movie where she's some kind of girls' party, a bunch of single girls go out, and my wife is now interested in watching that movie. And it's got the largish Australian girl, the blonde one, in it. Anyway, so that's how good my memory is. It's got the movie with
Largest Australian girl, the blonde one.
she's the funny.
I don't think she's big anymore. I think she lost a bunch of weight. I think I know who you're talking about.
Well, she was in the movie.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
if it's the one I'm thinking of. But no, like I've only seen the first 50 Shades of Grey movie, and I'm like,
oh, Rebel Wilson. Oh yeah,
Rebel
yeah.
Wilson.
that's what
you.
I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about. Exactly who I thought you were talking about. But I'm like, how can you make a movie about BDSM boring? But they managed to. I mean, it's boring. That's its worst trait. Is it's not like bad necessarily. It's just
And it
boring.
needed to be X-rated. I mean, that's a movie that should be like co-produced with Rocco Siffredi or something.
I did see the unrated version, and it still sucked.
Okay, okay, fine. I'll put it another way. That movie honestly needed to be a
Paul
European
Verhoeven?
production where you can do that thing properly with a cast who's willing to go all the way.
Basically, you need Paul Verhoeven to direct.
Yes. You need a woman who's you need a guy who's not afraid to show what a woman's all about. Because he also had that naked shower.
What are you
sequence.
doing? Get in there. Fuck her. Fuck her.
No, he had the naked shower sequence in the Starship Troopers.
And RoboCop.
Yes, that's right. That's
why I've said that it's all in the same universe.
Yeah, again, you see it. You need the European.
And he did that Showgirls
you
movie.
need a European.
Yep, and Showgirls. Calhoun, if I'm saying that correct, sends in $10. Says the Iger video is a distraction. It's not a surprise or relevant in the least. But now we aren't talking about Carano, Webb, Cedar Creek, etc. Stay on target.
Actually, we are on target because this
it was leaked.
Exposed. So this is not something that they wanted out there. On the contrary, this is something that just goes to show the double standards of Bob Iger. It is something that can be weaponized by pelts and everything. This is staying on target. It absolutely
Actually,
is.
If anything, this puts him more in the crosshairs of the Carano situation, because what this is showing is that he was still puppeteering behind the scenes while Chapek was running things. Yep. That's what it proves more than anything.
And it shows
That's the one thing we overlooked. Yeah.
It also proves the political motivation behind even her firing.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, that's like it was pointed out. So yeah,
and I just wanted to confirm that I looked it up. Rebel Wilson did lose a shit ton of weight.
She
looked
did.
Fabulous, and as soon as she became skinny, she came out as gay. So
Yep.
you guys, if you've got a chunky wife, don't let her lose weight, because
that's right.
You know what's going to happen
when she becomes hot. She doesn't want you anymore.
Exactly.
Right. DCB Titan says no.
Unless she lets you watch, then it's okay.
That's a participation award, though.
Yeah.
DCB Titan sends in 5 Canadian. It says no Master Chief never takes his off his helmet. It can get knocked off during a fight, though, but he wouldn't take it off.
You couldn't do it in a show, though. You just could not do it in an extended TV show. You just can't. I mean, you would end up losing so much character. And one of the reasons that he never took his helmet off in the games is that they didn't have a model for it.
What about Judge Dredd?
It was just way easier to keep that helmet on than you don't have to do anything else.
Well, there's that mysterious aspect of it that they like.
But it turned mysterious out of the fact that it was a game with a bunch of NPCs, right? NPCs are, you don't change them.
Non-playable characters.
Yeah.
Tom?
Last millennial here. I was letting you guys finish up. Getting us to our final topic of the day. Hi, gang. See the F4 castings looks DNA, not my F4. Well, there was a little bit
Looks
more to this than just the
DOA at
casting.
least.
DOA, did what did I say?
DNA.
Did I? I was thinking about Jurassic Park again.
Oh, there you go.
Dinosaurs, man. Dinosaurs. But we got this morning, too, from, we got a Valentine's gift from Marvel.
Okay, we now know all the cast now.
Yeah.
Okay.
We even got a picture back there. I wonder who that is. We
I
also
can
got
tell
a
you
date.
Well, that's him. That's Ben Grimm. The thing. It's the actor. It's Ebon Moss-Bachrach.
That's what I
So
thought. Yeah.
you can't really like say is the thing because he's the thing. But there you have a picture of him as a human. And I will say that Ebon Moss-Bachrach, he's a great actor. I really, really do like him. I'm very happy with his choice in this. He previously played Microchip in season 1 of Netflix The Punisher. And I had to check this out. Like, actually, it was Paul that checked it for me if he's Jewish, because Ben Grimm in the comics explicitly is Jewish.
Yep.
So you really should have a Jewish actor playing him. Like, I'm not like for the DEI stuff or anything like that, but well, I'm willing to go with it in this particular case, and Bachrach is at least 1/4 Jewish, so I guess that's good. So I'm very happy with his choice. The others, well, let's break it down.
Yeah, let's see. Although Ben Grimm circumcised would be very interesting.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's in the sequel. No, I wanted to get this up first because Robert Meyer Burnett and others have noticed the Life magazine that he's holding there. The date on it is in the 1960s, and look at the logo here as well. Clearly 1960s. I like these costumes if these are the costumes they're going with because they're 1960s. But I don't want to get myself too excited.
Who are the cast? Who's the cast?
So the cast is, and here we go. I got the actual cast here. We've got Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Ebon Moss-Bachrach, as Andre was pointing out there. So there you go. There's your Fantastic Four.
That's an okay cast.
I'm not upset, but I'm also not going to get my hopes too high on this so far.
Yeah, I think the worst choice on here is Pablo because he's just not Reed Richards.
Yeah. I think Yellow Flash is correct though. They're going to try and turn him into a bad guy eventually.
You know what? I think
he's right too.
I've always felt Reed Richards was the worst member of the Fantastic Four. I never in the comics. For me at least, he was my least favorite.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I just don't think that this is the right guy to play him.
Yeah,
I don't like. He's a very good actor, and we can be pleasantly surprised by his performance. But just like looking at him, he doesn't kind of like have the look that I associate.
No, it's true.
I mean, I always imagine something more of a George Clooney like type for that particular role.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, 10, 20 years ago, he'd have been perfect.
Yeah.
But no, you know what this is? This goes back to that super chat. This is the distraction being put out there to get us to distract from other Disney things right here.
This is the distraction.
Yeah.
This is it.
Hey, look over here. Hey, don't look there. Look over here.
Yeah. Don't look at the via.
Gina, we got the Fantastic Four. Fuck, that's her co-star, but who cares?
Well, she's good looking.
No. She's pretty in a very weird way.
I was like, forget about the Gina thing, but no, anyway. Wow, maybe with her.
Is she going to be gay? This is the cynicism.
Victoria Von Doom, maybe.
This is the cynicism we bring to every single discussion now, which is, you know what? I hate that aspect of the business is that we're going to be cynical about every single decision that they make now. I don't like that. It really removes a lot of the joy.
Well, I'm worried about who we're going to get as Dr. Doom because we still haven't got confirmation that it's not going to be Victoria Von Doom, right, Andre?
I saw something about Ben Mendelsohn is like really swinging to try to get it.
Yeah. Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Nice and red. I can tell you've read that a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Oh
oh man, possibly my favorite comic series of all time is Fantastic Four versus Galactus.
Yeah, the Galactus trilogy.
Oh,
Kirby at his best.
at his best. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Indeed, it is. Yeah, no, I don't know what's going on with Victoria upon Doom
Yeah.
and her getting. Again, I'm not going to allow myself to be excited for this before
That's
I
exactly
know
right.
a
Right.
hell of a lot more what's going on, because so far Marvel has shown one thing in the last 5 years, and that is that they are not to be trusted. They need to get many more punches straight in the nose by the audience before I trust them to have learned anything. Not only that, I want to see them bring in someone new to replace James Gunn to help them course correct, because I do not trust Kevin Feige to be able to course correct. Not on his own. He can't do it. He doesn't have the team. I will be willing to give Marvel a chance the moment that I see that there is something has changed in their managerial structure. And if it has behind the scenes, they haven't let us know. I want to know. I want to know that there's a new team in place and that this team is committed to storytelling. We don't know that now. Far from
Nope.
it. The only thing we know, because we don't have any reason to believe otherwise, is that they remain committed to DEI entertainment, which means they are not committed to storytelling, which means they will not bring in the best talent, either in front of or behind the camera. We have heard these kind of stories from WDW Pro and others. They're making an exception for Deadpool. They may be making a partial exception for this, but after that, straight back to their bread and butter, the MCU.
That's a funny idea. We're going to be making a quality exception for these two movies. We're making Deadpool and Fantastic Four good. Then we're going back. Just
But that's
so you
kind,
know.
but
I
that's
won't
kind of
even
what's
get
going
to.
on, though.
I won't even go as far as to say that they're still going to be good yet. I'm not convinced that Deadpool and this are going to be good. I'm
Well, no,
I'm
no,
even more pessimistic
yeah.
than you guys are.
Well, we're
Yeah,
cautious.
no, but we have heard that basically they made an exception. Like, we wouldn't normally allow two white guys in the lead, but Deadpool is just too important right now, so we're willing to make an exception. That's why I'm saying Deadpool is a
Yep.
fluke. It's not
No, I
sign of
hear
a
you.
new direction. It's a fluke.
I hear you. I'm just being more tempered than you guys are, I guess.
Well,
The only thing that
problem
gives
is-
me more excited is that they are actually putting it in the 60s. Now, I'm not saying they're actually listening to us, but that is the smartest thing that they could
Well,
have
that's what
done.
we've been saying. Is the technology is going to be way more interesting in the 60s. It's going to be way better. I'm fully
Well,
in agreement
especially
with
if
you.
that image that I had up here is definitely going to be the style they go with. I'm
I love
definitely
that
on board
picture.
with that. Yeah,
That picture is great.
that feels right to me, but I don't trust the motherfuckers.
And is that
That's the
Armstrong?
problem.
Is that
No.
Neil Armstrong in
That's
the
No,
back?
that's the character, the actor. that
yeah,
plays
that's what
Ben
Andre
Grimm.
was pointing out. Yeah, that's the
On the left.
Ben Grimm actor. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
no.
him. That's
That's him. I
Gottschalk in the
see.
background.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Well, I mean, it's great, and she's got a Valentine's Day thing in her pussy area. I mean, that's this is this bodes very well. I'd like to get a hold of those caramel creams.
Yeah.
Just don't touch my nougats, or I'm gonna hit you. Well, he's got the
shit.
nougats.
Is this breaking news, Andre, or is this older news that we're just learning about?
No, what I just put no, that's from yesterday. It broke yesterday.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
this
I like this. Everybody is really clean cut except for Pedro, but I don't mind Pedro. He's such a good actor. That doesn't. I mean, of all the things that could be done, okay, what's the big deal?
well, this actually gives me even more pause
Yes,
because
I read about this.
yeah, if Bernthal, and this goes along with what we were reporting for a long time,
Yeah,
right,
this
Andre?
is yes.
Fucking
because,
bounding in their website shit. Jesus.
Yeah, because here first we have to give a kudos to our good and late friend Mikey Sutton, because he was the first person that alerted us to this. Because what he said was in the transition from Netflix to Marvel, Marvel wanted some of their big players to come along, including John Bernthal as the Punisher. But what we learned from Mikey Sutton is that Bernthal, he takes the Punisher very, very seriously. And he is committed to doing the character right and to doing the fans of the character right. And from his point of view, the fans of the character, first and foremost, they're military guys and they're guys in law enforcement. He wants them to be proud of what he does as an actor. So the moment that someone goes about it the wrong way, then he's not going to do it. And what was reported here from Bounding into Comics, and this is not their original story, this is actually something that comes from X or some kind of social media, where there is one person, I believe, who had actually spoken with John Bernthal at some convention or something, if memory serves. And the story that they relate is that Bernthal, during the original shoot of, or the original scripting plans for Daredevil, Daredevil over at Marvel Studios with the Daredevil series, they got the Punisher all wrong. And then he refused to come back. He didn't want to do it. And I'm not surprised, because Marvel has moved away from the Punisher in the comics in a very big way. I mean, they changed his skull and everything like that, specifically because he appealed to law enforcement and to military guys. But John Bernthal isn't about that, so he refused to return. But what
He
he
loves
relates
veterans,
is
dude.
that
He loves vets.
eventually, through many more rewrites and tries, they were able to do something that he could live with. So that in the current form of the Daredevil series, the Punisher apparently only has a minuscule role, but John Bernthal is the one playing it because he did the character right in the end. But it was a very close call, and for a long time there he wasn't doing it. So I guess that's some kudos to the new writers that came in to do the retooling of the Daredevil series, where they suddenly then made it more like the Netflix series was, because it would appear that they then have gotten the Punisher, well, if not necessarily right, then certainly more in line with how he was in the Netflix series. And I'll take that any day over what Marvel is doing with him this day and age. So yeah, Paul, I know you have to leave soon. You have thoughts on this?
I mean, I think that's good. Berthal was good, and we need more people standing up like this. But as you said so accurately, we need a good long string of successes before we start believing any of this stuff.
Yeah. I completely lost faith in them. Completely. And it has to be, and now it's going to take them as long to rebuild faith as it took to lose it.
Oh,
I mean, think about it. Marvel was something we anticipated, and now we dread.
Yeah.
How do you build from that?
Exactly. But you're right. Like, it used to be that when we heard an announcement, it was like, yes, can't wait. Now we hear it, it's like, no, I don't want it. Please, God, no. Because we know they're going to mess it up. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it took them 5 years to lose that faith completely.
Well, I can hardly wait for Ironheart. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming after Deadpool.
Well, the Japanese version's really good.
Yeah.
Is it?
So just after Deadpool
It's
3
porn.
possibly will win some kind of fan momentum back. That's going to be followed up with the double whammy of Agatha All Along and Ironheart.
Those were my favorite comic books amongst my 100 that I've got. I can't tell you how many I have. None.
I got to tell you, they are definitely the nails in Feige's coffin. So just keep making them, Feige.
Yeah. I think he's making them on purpose to get fired, but they just refuse to fire him. and he's making them worse and worse and worse. And he doesn't want to quit because then he doesn't get his severance. So he's
Well, I think
purposely
it comes
making
down
garbage.
to this, Paul, that
Pardon me?
he has been gunning for a while to do what he's done. Everybody thought it was Victoria Alonso. I'm like, no, when he went after Ike Perlmutter, he was wanting to wokenize Marvel. That was his move. Victoria Alonso is just someone in his camp, and he's got what he's wanted. This is what he wanted, and I think he dares them to fire him.
Well, he's probably just going to lose weight and come out gay.
Eventually.
Well, that's usually what happens, and that's
That
probably
is
what's going to
Have
happen.
cool hats.
Yeah, that's true. And before you go, Paul, because I know you have to head out here.
Yep.
DCB Titan sends in 5 Canadian, says, if they're so well trained, Paul, then why do they still draw penises on the map? He's talking about Weatherman.
Well, that's just for fun.
It's for fun.
Of course, we all know that.
That's right. So they can
and then
do the blooper reel.
And then we got a couple more here for you. Hyper Guyver says what I said for $2. Paul, Judge Dredd, enough said. Exactly. Can still do a character and not take off the helmet.
True. It's true, but at least you can see the mouth on Judge Dredd. It makes a difference.
True. That is true. Chaos Sonic 1 sends in 5. It says, I disagree with you, Chato, as Reed is a lot better in John Hickman's Fantastic Four fixes Reed Richards. I'm not familiar with Hickman's.
I always also like John Byrne's version of Reed Richards.
I read so much. I didn't read this, but I mean, I'm 60s Fantastic Four, and really Richards was
the original.
Horrible.
I'm very old school on I'm not familiar with hardly any of the newer.
I'll have to check out Jonathan Hickman.
John Burns did it in the late 70s, early 80s.
That one I probably am aware of, but yeah. Tennille89 sends in $5, says, I agree with the sentiment, Paul, but they've earned our distrust by now. We put ourselves at risk by defaulting to skepticism. More's the pity.
They've earned our distrust. So, yeah.
Once bitten, twice shy.
Yeah. Well, it depends on where you get bit.
Yeah, in the ass.
And if you like being bit.
Well, there's that too.
Well, in the ass, as usual. And with that, I'm going to let you get out of here, Paul. Anything you got coming up? TV Guide.
Well, I just today the latest edition of Appalling News. Quite fun. It was a really enjoyable one to do. So please take a look at Appalling News on YouTube and subscribe.
Always watch you, Paul.
They're fun to do. I'll talk to you later, everyone. Thanks very much, and we'll hopefully see you Friday. Thanks for having me.
Talk to you soon, Paul.
Bye, everyone. Good luck, Gary.
Thanks a lot, my friend.
I've given you money.
We're going to get you on with Tom and me on
Don't.
Saturday.
I've given you money. Don't fuck it up.
What am I going to give you back?
Yeah, you owe him a blowy now.
That's right.
It's toothy. You won't like it.
Okay. I took the option that had the Alice Cooper panties in the album cover. So for those of you out there, you got to be old enough to remember which album had the panties in it.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Alice Cooper puts out a new album this year. I was surprised to learn that he has actually put out
he's been out there a lot
almost every year this last decade.
Oh, he's hugely popular.
He put out a new album last year. And the year before that.
Trucking.
And the year before that.
Yeah, and his school's out, of course, Paul.
Of course. Bye, everyone.
Forever.
Take care, Paul.
Bye, Paul.
Take care.
All right, let's get back into these super chats here, unless there's anything else to say about Bernthal. Although I know this, it might be a good place to plug your stuff.
I do have one little thing about it, because the Punisher inspired a lot of what's in Vindicated.
That's what I was thinking.
That and Batman.
I was thinking
because it was a debate over the Punisher and Batman that led to the existence of Vindicated as a character. But what I love that he supports the military, but he needs to support law enforcement too, because the left really has been just destroying the infrastructure of this country and our law enforcement. And we don't want to end up with what they have up in Canada right now for law enforcement. A bunch of jackboots. We don't want that. But that's what's going to end up happening if they keep doing this. And I hope it's not true that, the rumors I heard is that they're going to be doing corrupt cops again for this new show.
I believe that was the original plan.
I
That's
hope they
probably
get
what-
away from that.
That maybe was part of what pissed him off.
That probably
I hope
is
so.
what he didn't want to do, because that's kind of like what he has been doing as of late. Because what the rumor was that the Punisher would be going up against essentially MAGA supporters and corrupt cops.
Getting sick of that, because they did that with the Netflix series. That second season was going after religious right people, which I don't like much, the religious right. But at the same time, it annoys me because they're going after everybody who's conservative when they do that.
It was a very, very, let's just say, a very current year Marvel goal. Let's put it that way.
I want Punisher back to what he was doing, going after the mob and organized crime.
Yeah.
And that's what he was all about. And I like Barenthal, and I love that he supports veterans and the military, but he needs to support law enforcement too.
Well, he does, doesn't he? I mean, because that's
I've
what he
only
said.
heard his pro military stuff. I've never heard him say anything about law enforcement.
No, I believe I've heard that he said that the Punisher has to appeal to military and law enforcement.
Good. If he said that, then good.
He said that. Military and law enforcement.
I'm all for it.
Two, not just military. He was very clear that the law enforcement there's a big Punisher fan base among law enforcement.
Good on him, man. That is good news.
And I do believe that I don't know, but the rumors that we heard before that he was going to go up against corrupt cops, now learning he wasn't going to do it, to me that just it fits perfectly with what kind of bullshit Marvel would have wanted to pull.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to it. It's probably the only thing from Marvel I give a shit about. I don't even care about Daredevil at this point.
Well, it's a very tiny role he has, though, so I would anticipate him to be in one episode based on what's said here. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. I agree. Yeah, we can move on. I just wanted to say that one thing.
No, you're fine. Let's get back into super chats here because this one's for you. Ram Bam 3000 sends in £2 and asks Geary, what was it like working with Dale Dye or working for Dale Dye?
And there's the two of us in Branson back in 2011. He's been part of my life for almost 20 years. I have been working for him since 2006. I designed their first logo and I designed their latest logo. They just recently went from, because they had two separate companies. They had Warriors Incorporated and Warriors Publishing Group. It's now combined into one company called Warriors Global Incorporated. And it's been amazing, man, because I took an oath in 2006 with myself that I didn't do much in the military. I mean, the guys I served with loved me. We're still close friends, but I didn't get to do anything heroic or anything like that. So when I got out and did what I did in 2006, after I got pissed at Hollywood for making bad war films, I made a decision that I was going to spend the rest of my life pushing to make good military stuff. And I went to work for Dale Dye. And I've been working for him for 18 years. And I'm his main artist. I do all of his book covers for his publishing division. And I've worked on several projects. I would love to have gotten to work on Masters of the Air, but that's absolutely out of his hands. Who gets to work on that? But I will be working, because I worked with Tom Hanks, Gary Sinise, and him for No Better Place to Die. And every day I wake up, no matter what kind of day I'm having, I remind myself, I fucking work for Dale Dye. This guy is so, him and Julia, his wife, are so much in my life. I don't go a day without talking to them. I talk to them every day. And I get Christmas cards from them, personalized Christmas cards, not just your generic thing. They only send out to a handful of people. And having this guy in my life has been one of the greatest gifts I've ever had. That's what it's like working for Dale Dye. I will also say nobody can make my ass clench tighter when I've done something that he wants to correct. Because he doesn't call me Gary, he calls me son when I screwed up something. And that's only happened a handful of times in our 18 years.
There you
So
go.
I hope that answered the question.
Thank you so much.
And he is,
Random.
by the way, the military advisor on my book. He and Julia are both advisors to make sure all my military stuff is accurate. And I did have to edit one thing in my book to correct it because he said I used the wrong radio jargon. And he says, that's not what they would say. This is what they would say.
All right. You got Changer of the Ways, Beat Bop Boop sends in 5 and says Disney gaslights so much it's like lighting curtains on with Lizzo's farts. Yeah,
Was there a video yesterday of Lizzo rolling around on a stage?
probably.
I thought I saw something like that where she was like
I've seen too
trying to
many
dance.
videos like
She looked
that.
like she was rolling. She looked like she fell down and couldn't get up.
Like a turtle.
Yeah.
I like turtles.
But I don't like
That
Lizzo.
I can't believe, but yeah. No, I have not had the pleasure of seeing her fall down and not be able to get up, and I don't think I want to see it either. Especially not to see her roll around on stage. That sounds pretty tragic.
Especially from some of the angles I've seen. Anyway, Tipping Barn sends in 199 says, so now Hollywood needs a chimp-timacy coordinator.
This can get out of hand really quickly, so let's just
Yeah.
Well, that's what got Frank Langella fired from that one film. It's just
What do you mean?
this is weird shit. Needing an intimacy coordinator.
Yeah. Jay gifted 5 Midnight's Edge memberships. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that here at the channel. That helps us out. Michael Nemo sends in $2. Says the Wizard of Oz plus the Wiz equals Wizard or Wicked. I wish it was that, but I don't even think it's going to be that good.
Nope.
But we'll see. There's been people talking about it though. Redstone
When my gay son made a big deal of going to see that in New York, I knew it was going to be terrible.
Redstone stock is cheaper than a condom, sends in 14 South African Rand. Says Madam Web, Mommy Dom held them titties. Well, they cut them out, or at least you can't really tell her they're padded or strapped or whatever down.
Yeah, because they did that. I understand they did that to Carrie Fisher to make her look younger, but in this, I don't know why they did that.
Well, that and she wasn't wearing a bra,
male gaze.
so they strapped her down with tape.
It has to be for that reason, Andre.
Yeah, no, I guarantee with a director like C.J. Clarkson on board, I can practically guarantee you it is to avert the male gaze and to ugly her up, basically. Because you don't want to.
You would think these actors would fight that.
No, they will go with whatever they think is is going to get them that next role, and if they think, oh, working with this director is going to give us some wokey brownie points, and I'm going to send a Powell for a message if I agree to this, they're going to do it. I mean, these people have no morals or anything like that. They have no principle. I'll have whatever opinion is going to land me my next job, and that's as far as it goes.
DCB Titan on the Lizzo front sends in 2 Canadian and says she roll around on her own. They need a forklift. Well, to get her up, they may have to get a forklift.
That's a fat man. I resent that.
And, anyway, thanks again, Redstones. And then we got Sergeant Point Blank who sends in 2 and says, was MW an Emmy Pascal thing, Madam Web? No, well, yes,
you just
and no.
Put out a video on this, Andre. Tom,
yes, we did.
Yes. Here's the thing. Madam Web is not an Amy Pascal thing now, but it started out that way because
it was 10 years ago when they started it.
You can trace the lineage of Madam Web back to Glass Ceiling, which was initiated and put into development by Amy Pascal. But here's the thing: from the ashes of Glass Ceiling, which crumbled when she was fired, then it lost all kind of momentum. It was always there, the idea to do an all-female team and stuff like that, something that she had initiated. Now it became something that Avi Arad and Matt Tolmack did. It's something that they had on the back burner, but it wasn't a big priority. And then in 2019, they attached director S.J. Clarkson, who came up with a different take and everything like that. And then it took the form of Madame Web that it has right now. But but this is not an Amy Pascal production, because sometimes it is like that in Hollywood. Something is started by one person and then it mutates and it becomes something else and it's continued by someone else. That's what happened with Madame Web.
Yeah, and SJ is the exact kind of director she would have brought in. And that's a good question, Rogue Thinker. I wonder if this means that her tenure is up.
No.
Her name
She's
still be
not,
associated.
She's still, but she's not associated with this though. That's what confuses me.
No. She's everything that's Spider-Man. She doesn't have to be associated with Venom. She doesn't have to be associated with Craven. She has to be associated with the animated Spider-Man and any future Spider-Man movies.
Gotcha.
So she's still there. She's there for a good long while still. She's just not on the other things that Matt Tolmach and stuff can do on their own. So they brought in Lorenzo Di Bonaventura to do this one.
Yeah.
So she's still there, but she's going to be there for Spider-Man, not for Spider-Man spin-off movies that doesn't involve Spider-Man, because then the people who the Sony guys don't want to work with her. So they only work with her.
That makes sense. She can only work on Spider-Man projects. Got it. Well, we do have some breaking news. And that is that Lizzo fell on stage. 12 are dead and 27 are injured.
That video was true. Okay, that I saw. All right. Oh my God.
Yes, it's a joke, kids. It's a joke. But then House of Atreides sends in 5. This isn't a joke. Says the part of Masters of the Air that has to compete against me is the 1949 and 64 TV show 12 O'Clock High. Those were great TV shows. Yeah.
And it also has to be able to stand aside the Pacific and Band of Brothers, because this is kind of like the third in the trilogy, from what I understand.
Right. I got to tell you, it's really good, Andre. I've been watching it. You know, I can hardly wait for the next episode. It's heart-wrenching. It gets so emotional. They've only, as far as my knowledge goes, and I am a military historian. I've only caught one thing that they changed, and I think they changed it for a good reason, which is the death of one of the pilots, because the way he and his crew died was far worse than what they put in the show. It was one of the most gruesome deaths.
And Chaos Sonic 1 sends in 2 and says, hopefully Madame Web will not cause a divorce. Yeah, right. Being out on Valentine's Day, it could cause a few. DCB Titan sent in 5 Canadian, says 50 Shades of Grey needed to be like UV Bowl's Blood Rain, basically softcore porn. Yeah, probably.
Yes, they need a good European director. That's what it needed.
Yeah, probably. Chaos Sonic 1 sends in another buck on the Rumble side and says, unrated 50 Shades, the movie and the book is BDSM for teens. This is from a BDSM fanfic who knows the deep dark kinks of a fanatic who knows the deep dark kinks of the lifestyle, as BDSM is also about trust and is more X-rated than this. Oh yeah, I've said that before too. It's basically, it's not even that. It's basically some lonely housewife's fucking version of it is what it is.
And you didn't mention this earlier, and I want to mention it now, is that 50 Shades was started out as fan fiction for Twilight.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And so I didn't expect much from it.
In fact, the first printings even had misspellings and grammatical errors and crap.
Oh, they're all over the place, dude.
Yeah. Daniel sends in 5.
Twilight, though, but yeah.
Yeah. Daniel sends in 5 and says, do you think whenever we get Turtles 4K, they'll fix face in Donatello's mouth? No, I doubt it. No reason to. Chaos Sonic 1 sends in 2 and says, Paul, I recommend Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four. We did get some recommendations before this, and sadly, I think this came in after he had left already, Chaos Sonic, but he did get that recommended to him. So just the same, the sentiment was passed on to him. The Lord Akira sends in Canadian 10 and says, it started slowly, but 15 years ago, there was a kick in this direction. They have been treating us like Alex with the eye drops in Clockwork Orange. Yep. Difficult to forget or forgive. Yeah. Yeah. And this is where I was like, especially if you're referring to the Bob video, I was like, just starting to get into politics? Yeah, right. Just you mean doubling down on it or tripling down on it because you've been into it way deeper than, and yeah, you say 15 years. I'd say, yeah, that's about right. Maybe 10 at the most,
Yeah,
but at least, yeah.
Well, he had
sounds about
aspirations
right.
for the White House, if you remember. I don't think he
Oh,
can get
we
it
never
now.
forget, and we never let
He
him
probably
forget
still
either.
does.
He'll never get it now. I think he had a chance before. Doesn't now. He'll be
Does he know
remembered
that
as the
though?
guy
Oh,
who
he never
destroyed
had a chance.
House of
He
Mouse.
never had a chance,
You don't
but
think so?
Well,
no.
if he got the machine behind him, he would have. If he
Maybe
got,
like, okay, if he had ran in 2016 or whatever, perhaps, yeah.
Well,
if
if
he had
Chapek
got
had been successful and he hadn't sabotaged Chapek,
Because
I
like
think it would have worked.
now if you'd have put him against Trump or something like that, he probably would have beat Trump. I'm not going to say that's untrue. Because I think one of the main reasons Trump won was just because of Hillary.
Yeah. Anybody but her.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, at that point, he still wasn't as known as, he is now for his woke bullshit. Titties just sends in 14. Says, why do these lesbian directors desexualize women? I don't know. It seems to just be the ones that are probably jealous of women. I had a girlfriend like this years ago, and she went through in all my CDs and crap and like blotted out any cleavage and crap. She was so jealous and freaked out about any, like, yeah. One of the funniest thing was when she found out I actually owned a copy of Porky's. I'm like, bitch, you have no idea what I got then. like you think that's a problem. So like, yeah, there's some women like that who are just so jealous of other women, and yeah,
It's a self-esteem issue, really.
it's a self-esteem thing. Thank you. That's basically where it's coming from. It's an insecure thing. It's, yeah, and that's what I see screaming in situation with the Madam Web business.
I don't know. I'm not going to speculate what is the thing here, but I think it's probably more a matter of ideology than it is
Mixed
jealousy
with
of an
that.
individual filmmaker. I
Well,
think
my
it's
point is, Andre, yes, I get you, but like, I think it's that old school jealousy mixed with this new.
that probably doesn't make it any better.
That's what I mean. It's being justified now to where normally before people would be like, chill the fuck out.
Yeah, but that's kind of like what I mean. That I'm not surprised that S.J. Clarkson would do this because
Me neither.
I have never everything I have heard about her, which isn't much, but what I have heard about her, which is rumor, speculation, blah blah blah, nothing good. Everything I have heard is that if you want to make sure that whatever woke project you have gets uber wokeified, you attach her to it. She is someone that you attach exclusively for woke brownie points because she's such a true believer, and I mean, that's why she was attached to Star Trek 4 when they were struggling getting that on the ground and they were trying to go with the woke direction. That's when they attached S.J. Clarkson. That was just one big virtue signal. Still didn't get it. I mean, even HBO, they cancelled her. They stupidly hired her as showrunner on that Blood and Moon series, the Game of Thrones spinoff. They stupidly hired her for it. They gave her the creative freedom that she needed to do what she thought was best, and then they had to scrap the whole thing because it was, and I quote, too woke afterwards. Well, that is rather, it was too radical feminist and in a way that I think that very few women actually would agree with.
And speaking of that, Rambam says it here. I like this one. They accuse men of misogyny, but no one hates women like other women.
Yeah, this is true. I mean,
Absolutely.
I even read like there was even like, I don't want to get too deep into this, but that just brings
Andre's
to
second
mind.
thinking this.
Yeah, just brings to mind. I read like one like scholar and like one historian that said that Jack the Ripper was probably a woman and not a man, because only another woman would be able to harbor that kind of hatred, sexualized hatred to women. I'm not saying that's accurate or something. I just like this was a
No, it's
scholarly
interesting.
paper or something.
It's an interesting perspective on it. What if Jack the Ripper was Jane the Ripper or Jacqueline?
Yeah.
There you go.
But moving on, I believe
We got one
have,
more super chat. We got Mr. Burger with a 5 who says, Andre only. Which ancient civilization is believed to be the inspiration for Conan's Stygia, known for sorcery and serpent worship?
Well, I would imagine that. Well, here's the thing. Robert E. Howard, he was the creator of Conan and the world of Conan, the Hyborian Age. What he did was that he took kind of like the most famous barbarians in civilizations that happened at different point in history, and he kind of blended them together and he put them in like one time frame. And then he also took like some very the most well-known historic depictions. Insofar as I know, ancient Stygia, that of course is ancient Egypt. So Stygia would then be what came before Egypt. The name Stygia is derived from the river Styx, which is the death river in Greek mythology. So I believe that his rationale was that this is something that predates the Egyptian history, and I don't remember the details. What I will say though is that Robert E. Howard, he was far more knowledgeable in history than I am. I have to look this stuff up because I don't have all of it at my fingertips. And he had some incredibly advanced libraries. He must have had access to some information that is partially lost today, because some of the stuff that he put into his Hyborian map is some stuff that researchers are finding out only now. As for Stygia, I'm going to say ancient Egypt, but I do not know for certain. I'm not that much of a Howard scholar that I know that in detail. Let me know if I'm wrong. Oh, okay, Mr. Berger, he had a follow-up. Which is one more time, Tom.
It will stump you one day.
Damn it, Andre, I will stump you one day. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, no. So Robert E. Howard, he knew his stuff when it came to history, and like the more
Did you ever see that movie about him with D'Onofrio?
Yes,
I love that
yes,
movie.
The Whole Wide World. It's fantastic. That one needs a complete remaster and a
Remastering,
Blu-ray
yeah.
release.
I think one of the best gifts I ever got for my birthday was when my buddy Jason Pankoke, a filmmaker in Illinois, got me a shooting script from the film with notes in it, red notes,
Nice.
red liner notes. I was like,
Very
oh my
nice.
God, great gift.
That's amazing.
I love that movie.
It reminds
And
me
also,
not
of course,
long-
it's Vincent D'Onofrio, now of Kingpin fame, that did play Robert E. Howard, the creator of Conan, in that biopic. And
they did not
did
shy away from
amazing.
his mental illness. I love that.
No, it was a tremendously good movie. Tremendously good movie.
That reminds
Very
me,
good.
I actually picked up Solomon Kane finally because it's been out of print and the disc goes for like $40-50 usually.
Uh-huh.
But I got it for like $15 in an auction. I lucked out. So yeah, I'll finally get to see that eventually here when I get a chance. House Atreides sent in another Canadian tenant, said episode 6 of Masters of the Air, Major Robert Rosie Rosenthal arrival on his third mission with the 100th group. Rosenthal's plane was the only one to return, if I remember my history correctly.
Yeah, in this latest episode, they've left it up in the air that the one flight with Buck was shot down. They believe it's shot down, but I know the history, so I can't tell you what happens. But I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah, there you go. And it's on Apple now. So check it out, guys. And check out Gary's comic book. Anything else coming up, Gary, you want to plug as we're
I'm going to be hanging out with Christian Delorme tonight on his stream. And then let's see. I still don't know what we're doing this Saturday. I don't know what movie we're doing. I need to go look. But we haven't even discussed what we're talking about on Friday with TGIF on pop
I know
culture.
I know a week from this Saturday, hopefully Andre can join us. We're going to be talking about the original Dune on our Tom and
Yes,
Jerry.
I'm stoked about that. I hope you can join us, Andre, because I'm a big fan of that. I was associated with it because my teacher,
We're
my mentor,
specifically talking the Spice Diver cut too. So yeah.
Yeah.
that's the version I want to do.
That's
But
the only
I
version worth discussing.
I worked for and lived with Ron and Judy Miller when that movie was made. And of course, she's the one who designed the ornithopter for the movie. And he was one of the production artists for the film. And I was his student and living with them at the time. And so he stole my copy of the book, but I can't get mad at him for it. The Making of Dune, because it was signed by the cast and crew. But it's because of him I got to have dinner with David Lynch. I was there +1. The sad thing is, right when we pulled up in front of their house, as we're getting out of the car, Ron turns to me and says, "And you can't ask him any questions about Dune," which broke my heart. I couldn't talk to him about the one thing I wanted to talk to him about because you didn't bring it up with David Lynch.
Yeah, I've only seen a few places where he's talked about it. Only a few.
Someone needs to show him the Spice Diver cut and have him sign off on that being the official director's cut.
Well, he's kind of, yeah. I mean, I've only seen him talk about it a little bit. And he recently talked about it on an interview where all he said
the
was,
one thing I heard was when he wasn't happy with.
Well, yeah, he said, he'll never revisit it. He'll never revisit it because he goes, that movie's not the movie I wanted to make. At the end of the day, and he goes, it's like, there's nothing even there for me to finish it with, and all that kind of stuff. He goes, I really should have had Final Cut and all this other stuff. He just all you can hear is regret about the whole thing. I don't think he'll ever revisit.
It's one more example of why you better be careful when you're signing a contract with Dino De Laurentiis.
Not only that, it was like one of his only studio films, and you can tell that really.
That would be why.
Yeah.
But anyway, someone really needs to sit him down and strap him down, force his eyes open in the Stanley Kubrick style, and just make him watch the Spice Diver cut, and then see that, okay, fine, this is the movie I was trying to make all along. Have him sign off on it and just adopt it at his director's cut, so we can get like an official 4K reconstruction of it.
Now Christian's saying he might be open for one.
Yeah.
So
I would sure hope so.
I hadn't heard this. Well, and I just started watching the sci-fi Dune as well because I was starting to bone up.
It was good, but it just, I don't know, it just kind of fell short for me. It just felt like TV. It didn't feel.
Oh yeah, it definitely feels like a TV series. But
I shared my screen.
I'm enjoying it so far. I just got through the first part, but
that's because of you guys today. We broke 4,000.
Oh, awesome. Get in there, guys, and then support Vindicated Inc. today. Contribute, help out. And yeah, let's help Gary reach his goals.
Yeah. Because my biggest concern is getting Richard Bonk paid. It really is. I mean, I didn't require much. That's why I get paid a lot less, because it's my project. But he needs to get paid at least a certain amount. So, because he's going to be doing at least 18-page chapter. It could be 22, but it's most likely going to be an 18-page chapter. And I want to make sure he gets paid properly. Because Richard and I go way back. I mean, we've been friends for 20 years. And if you've never seen his artwork, go check out Richard Bonk's artwork. It's incredible.
All right. And I know the mods have been sharing the link in the chat, and I'm sure it's in the description as well. And with that, Andre, is there anything that you wanted to plug before we head out? Is there anything we got coming up here?
Just check back for more videos tomorrow. I'm sure we are going to have something then. And if not, Tom, anything you need to plug?
I don't know what's going on yet. A lot of people want me to see Madam Web. I'm not sure if I really wanted to deal with all that shit. So we'll see here. If I don't do Madam Web, I'll probably be on my regular programs for tonight, which would just be physical media, etc. We do need to get back to 4K for you as well. But with that, yeah, no, I have nothing specific on tap.
Tombstone is this weekend, Tom, is what I'm doing.
Oh, well, too bad I'm not home. So yeah,
Because I love Tombstone. It's one of my favorite films. And it's a huge inspiration for
it is a
Vindicated.
great film.
There are these films, there are 2 nods to Tombstone in the script.
Cool. All right. Well, with that, let's get on out of here. Time for what, Andre?
It is time for some koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koalas